How's everyone doing tonight? It is uh it is a wild time in Pokemon. I do this every other week myself, and then every other week in between, fortnightly, I do this on Pokeflips. So I am live every week on YouTube, and there is never a shortage of things to talk about in the Pokemon market. But like right now, especially so, the market is on absolute fire. I have joked about different things that I've heard in different YouTube channels and like when's the next boom coming? The boom is now. The boom is absolutely right now. It is not the same as 2020, 2021. It is not as broad, all reaching. It is not touching everything necessarily, but the volumes of money, the liquidity, the market cap changes. Given that it is touching like the most common, I have joked a long time, partly a joke, mostly not a joke though. Moderner, betterer, higher pop, better. The like every card above 10,000 pop, I want to have 100 of them. I want to grade 1,000 of them. Every card that is above a 10,000 pop, I want to get to a point where someday I can grade 100, 500, 1,000 of those things. My video on Monday showed you that those are not just empty words. Those are being actioned. I have some upcoming video. One upcoming video that I have. I'm always talking about the videos on the horizon. Graded Edge. Graded Edge right now is like a Pokenomics Patreon exclusive benefit, and it allows you to identify what cards have margin. It just scrapes a bunch of different websites. It scrapes eBay sales. It scrapes TCG player sale prices, and it scrapes like pop reports at PSA, and it just does the calculations for you to figure out what cards would be the most profitable. And I underwent like a $25,000-$30,000 test a few months ago where I just spent 25 or 30 grand on different singles that it told me were going to be profitable, were going to be good. And you always know that like market movements are going to skew your data one way or the other. Hopefully, price will go up so you make even more money, right? But that video is going to be so broken. Like that video was intending to tell a story of, hey, here's a website to identify profitable plays when maybe margin is harder to find and this and that. So many of those cards are up 20, 50, 100%. So many of those PSA 10s are up tons of money. Like I'm going to just accidentally happen into a 5-figure profit on that play. So Surging Sparks, all the hype around that, the things that Twilight Masquerade is doing, the 151 reprint, like where do you want to go tonight? Because I got some fresh apple cider by my side, ready to take me deep into the night. I'm here to chat. I'm here to hang out. I don't have a massive rant pre-planned. I'm not going PK style tonight. PK is live over on Fanatics selling some of my wares, but I do not have a PK style rant to just run for 30 minutes. I am here and ready to engage in chat. I'm sure certain comments, I'm sure certain questions will set me off on the random 5-minute, 20-minute diversions, and as normal, I'm sure we'll end up in strange places tonight, but I'm here for it. I hope many of you are here for it too. Yeah, so let me know your questions and I will get at them. Panga second. Maybe Panga had commented in here and then it got erased. Sometimes if people comment way before the live stream actually goes live, they actually drop off. I don't know if it's 24 hours. I don't know when it is exactly, but presumably Panga was here first. Jeff was here second. How's it going, Chef, Garen, Jake, Moon Wen? The moon is in the rearview mirror. Jake, I say don't look back. Don't look back at the moon. We're on our way to Mars or somewhere. I don't know. We're on our way somewhere big, and it's bigger than the moon. Think bigger. Boom is now, y'all. Are we ready for the return of Team Rocket? I'm ready for it. I bet next set, best set, always. Like right now, hey, Surging Sparks is still 2 weeks away. Let's get there first. But next set, best set, moderner, betterer, higher pop, better, like all those good things. Market booming, but my relationship with Jake Smith has never been worse. Sorry to hear about that. Hopefully, you guys being so filthy rich from all this Pokey Profit will fix the relationship. Hopefully, throw some money at it. How's it going, Kid Turi? How's it going, Kooky Cat? How many Surging Sparks cases are we buying? So just before I went live, I recorded the video. So apologies for anyone that was expecting my 6-month recap video to be this coming Monday on my investment palette that I'm doing with my dad. I looked at the calendar, and this coming Monday is like 5 months and 3 weeks. So I kicked that out one more week so that one would actually be a 6-month recap. And I can't wait to record that video. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till next Friday, right before I leave for a wedding. I'm going to record that midday Friday on November 1st, which will have been 6 months. Sorry, 6 months exactly at that point. May 1st is when everything was put on the pallet. Everything was time-stamped prices. And what those things have done, the commentary back then when I made it versus the commentary on like the broader market right now, it's wild. It's always a wild ride in Pokemon. It's always interesting to see what's going on. But I'm along for the ride. 38 cases though. So what I was saying, I kicked my 6-month palette review video a week down the line. That will come not this Monday, but next Monday. And what will come this Monday though is a Surging Sparks preview, whatever you want to call it. Like all the big PokeTubers are doing it. All the Poke investment tubers who own 0 cases of Surging Sparks, who will own 0 cases of Surging Sparks, they're all throwing their 2 cents in, so I'm throwing my 2 cents in. I have 38 cases coming of Surging Sparks. I have 38 cases coming. I'm buying 38 through wholesale distribution. I would caution people that are FOMOing in. I generally speaking, as a good modern sealed investor does, I try to focus on my buy price, and I'm fine missing certain sets. I have distribution, so I don't really entirely miss anything, but I have to take a lot of crap along the way that I need to sit on for a while to make it make sense. But yeah, I'm not going to rehash my whole video that I recorded for Monday. It's a shorter one for me. It's like 15, 16 minutes. So it just, I talk exactly what my line of thinking is about Surging Sparks. I compare it to Stellar Crown, what my allocations were. I talk about Twilight Masquerade and how many Twilight Masquerade I have left from what I originally had. And I talk about like what actual Pokemon investing can look like. And by no means am I like a huge scale operation, but I think it's just important to have transparency, important to like hear things from people who actually have skin in the game. And I try to provide that with my recording that I did for Monday. Hey Dan, my DBZ sell-through rate isn't going up. What's your definition of market? The market is on fire. The DBZ score market, I do not believe, has been swept up in that, unfortunately. Rising tide does not lift all boats. If the boat is DBZ score and it's got a bunch of holes in it, and yeah, that's not gonna rise. That's just gonna sink to the bottom. That's gonna stay down in the bottom when the water rises. So sorry, the rising tide does not lift all ships. If they're not seaworthy, they will not rise. Navi Station, nice to see you in here. Drutini Ponga, one of my streamers. Who's Poga? How's it going, Ponga? Nice to see you. One of my streamers and one of my friends. One of my good friends. Fat Belly Collects is out here in the Black Hills, South Dakota tonight. Wumbar 4G still tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you. Glad you got enough 4G to get this stream going. Any insight into there being value in submitting reverse holos for sets like 151 and Twilight Masquerade and similar in popularity? Oof. You better be very sure you're going to get a 10. That is all I would say. Let's actually look at some of the data though. I think this is a fun question to like dive into. Look at some of the actual data. I have no idea. I have no idea what modern set reverse holos go for. You said one thing I like about 151 especially is that it has a lot of Kanto Pokemon. It has a lot of high popularity Pokemon, a lot of S, A, B tier Pokemon. I would be afraid of doing set reverse holos for any set that what like 151 is so popular that there will be people trying to master set it, even in PSA 10, even for the reverse holos. There won't be a ton, I don't think. but there will be some. Let me see if Graded Edge does. Okay, Graded Edge does have like the Pikachu Reverse Holo. So here's like a little sneak peek into the paywalled Graded Edge. So let me trying to get my screens balanced. Let me go to camera. Let me pull up my Chrome. And we're going to do this on the fly. Okay, we just completely covered me. People are probably fine with that, but let me make myself come through. So here's what Graded Edge is. It is closed access right now. It is not available to the public, but it is a site that you can get all this information for free elsewhere. You can go to the source, you can go to PSA, you can go to eBay, and you can get all this. Time is valuable though. Time is money. So what Graded Edge will do, Graded Edge will provide you links of how to buy it on TCG Player. Where to, like right here, you click a button, boom, affiliate link, we'll get some kickback, and you get the ability to buy it. And as I expected, sorry, I'm trying to get my window sized, not doing very well, not doing so hot with that. As I expected, one, the 10 rate is low. So of cards submitted to PSA, 51% got 10s, 42% got 9s, and 7% had some dark times and they got lower than 9s. A 10 goes for 35 and a 9 goes for 15. So what that amounts to is an expected profit, an EV of $1.42. If you blind buy in bulk, if you buy 100 of these in bulk, and you get the same exact rates, if you get the same exact rates that the broader public has gotten grading through PSA, you would expect to profit $1.42 per card. Not great relative to the time. If you do subscribe to the Pokenomics Patreon, if you do get access to Graded Edge, there's a tab called Most Profitable Cards at the top. Let me get rid of this comment quick. And in that Most Profitable Cards tab, it will show you of all the recent cards, like what are the most profitable cards. It will give you a lot better ideas. Sorry, I'm just trying to show you where that is, what it looks like. It will give you better ideas than reverse holos from the 151 sets. That said, here's the numbers. If you want to change them, the way that this works, you can actually like, oh, well, I'm going to go to a show in person, and I'm only going to buy ones that I know are 10s. And I'm going to grade 90% 10s and 10% 9s because historically that's what I've been able to do. Your expected profit now goes up from $1 something, still only $9. And this is Pikachu. This is Pikachu. A lot more Pikachus have been graded, almost guaranteed, than the other ones. But it's not something that I would be after. I would go after something a little bit higher value, higher profit margin. But theoretically, you could do it. I would worry about liquidity. Going with the non-Pikachu, non-Gengar, non-Charizard, non-like S-tier Pokemon like that. But it is an option. It is something you could theoretically do. Let me go back full screen again. And let me just quickly check a little bit more if there's more reverse holos showing up. So there's Pikachu, Mewtwo, Charmander, Bulbasaur. Let me see if the other ones look better. So actually, I'm going to spill some... Maybe this is probably a Master Ball though. This has to be the Master Ball one. So I would be worried a little bit with Graded Edge. Some like no data compilation website is perfect. I'm worried this is grabbing some of the Master Ball reverse holo price data. So I doubt the Bulbasaur reverse holo has an expected profit of 30. I'm not sure the regular Pokeball reverse holo has an $88 PSA 10 and a $27 PSA 9. These are probably Master Ball numbers with the Pokeball 22-cent raw card price. So you do have to be careful out there with any data compilation website. None of them are going to be perfect. But yeah, I think there's just so many better places to make margin in graded cards than trying to seek out reverse holos from set cards. That said, like some people say the riches are in the niches. Some people say, I think the riches are more in the highly liquid, high volume, high market cap stuff where you can do substantial plays of a substantial size and you won't affect the market whatsoever. I bought a sealed case. I bought a sealed case of gray felt hat Pikachus. There are 30,000 PSA 10s. I'm going to grade like 300 more of them, hopefully. But probably closer to like 200. I'm gonna grade maybe 200 more PSA 10s. That is less than 1% of what has been graded. And in reverse holos, it's like you're just fighting an uphill battle with low liquidity, much more niche thing, much smaller market cap, much smaller market in general. Little spoon or big spoon on Friday. Shout out to Ponga. I am going to visit Ponga Friday. We'll see who ends up being a little spoon or big spoon. We'll play it by ear. But yeah, I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to going to the wedding. Old college friend I'm going to see a bunch of college friends, some of which I haven't seen since college, which was over 10 years ago, which is mind-blowing. I'll be seeing some old college friends that I haven't seen, talked to in over 10 years. And then some of them I haven't seen in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but I talk to them relatively regularly. So exciting times, and I will see Ponga again. I will see Ponga. I just saw him 2 weeks ago in Chicago, a week and a half ago for Chicago Collecticon, but I will be seeing him again. Navi Station says, how many are we holding? Stay tuned for my video Monday. I talk through all of it. 38 cases. I will probably list 8 or so on eBay out of the gate. I'll list them a little bit high, as I always do. I'll list them where if they sell, I make a little bit of margin, a little bit more margin than normal, given what Surging Sparks is doing. But like, I'm gonna hold. I'll probably send 4 each to PK and Ponga to have for streaming, and I'll send them a bunch of ETBs or loose packs too. But I also will probably set back. I'll probably set back 4 to 8 for the pallet, and then another 10 to 12 will just be kind of not palletized, time capsuled for 6 years, but also like not in a big hurry to sell. I always play these things by ear. I don't have a firm price point, and I don't have a firm date either. Very roughly 2 to 5 years, selling somewhere ideally maybe 25% of what I hold at 150 to 180 a box, selling the next 25% of what I hold at 200 to 300 a box. And then once I have half of it sold, I really slow down a little bit more. And unless something big comes up. If something big comes up and I need to raise 5-6 figures of capital quickly, everything can change. Everything is very by feel. Everything is very dependent on what is going on more broadly in the market, and then in my market, in my personal finance, in my business, like if the opportunity arises to buy a $250,000 collection, I don't have that much cash on hand liquid ever really, but I could raise that capital quite quickly, selling off part of a pallet, part of a shelf, an entire shelf here or there. And there's been times in the past when I've done that. With Modern Sealed, with different cards, with whatever. So it all could change in an instant if the right opportunity comes along. But yeah, that's a rough idea on what I'm doing. Monday I have a video that comes out that will detail 15 more minutes of conversation on what I'm doing with Surging Sparks. There will be videos on this. I will give you a slight teaser. So middle of a live stream, most people probably won't be here for this, see this. Probably more people will watch the actual video. I have gone through 6 inner boxes. So a sealed distributor case has 25 packs per box, 16 boxes. I have opened 6 boxes so far. I have pre-graded through. It's annoying because you kind of have to slide the card a little bit. So yeah, you can slide the card a little bit. You can see the edges. I'm finding, and I'll get way down the rabbit hole in the standalone video for this play, but I know after opening 10 or 20 of them blindly, I opened 10 or 20 blindly to get like my bearings about me and to see what I'm looking for. Most of these that have damage have the same damage. So I can slide the back one way. Most of them are already pre-slid that way just by chance, by luck. And I'm looking for like one similar instance of damage that some of these have. And if I see it, they go into the not grading pile. And if I don't see it, they go into the grading pile. Sometimes I open them up in the grading pile, and then I look through them really quickly, and it's like, oh, no, that has a scratch that I couldn't see. That has a scratch under the white that I couldn't have possibly seen, whatever it may be. And that one goes to the not grading pile, and that one's a raw one that goes to the not grading pile. So having gone through 150, I am grading. I won't tell you the splits between where I'm grading them. I am grading with BGS, PSA, and CGC. 107 of 150 are being graded. So 107 of 150 is 71.33%. And if I grade the same amount proportionally across the entire case, I will grade approximately 285. So I will grade approximately 285 gray felt hat Pikachus. I'm waiting a little bit. Again, I'm not going to tell you the split, but I am waiting a little bit to send my second submissions. I'm waiting for preliminary data coming from each grading company on like how the play went. And once I see the first results, once I see the first grades come back, I'll reevaluate a little bit. I won't take it too harshly because like all it will be is one data point. And graders can have bad and good days and yada yada, the things I always say. But I might recalibrate. I might change my allocation percentages between PSA, BGS, CGC, pending what I see. If I see 3 black labels, I might chuck another one to BGS relatively quickly. Or I might wait a little bit so that I can get those black labels auctioned, sold off, while it's only pop 4 before I make it pop 7 or pop 10 or whatever. Maybe I won't get a single black label. Maybe I won't get a single 10. Maybe all my Beckett ones will be 8.5s and 9s, and I won't send any more to Beckett. Because I went through and I sent my best X amount. I sent the best ones I could find. And I didn't spend an insane amount of time going through that with a fine-tooth comb. But like I pre-graded more harshly than I do for the majority of things I grade. Because gray felt hat is just a harder grade in general than most things that I grade. So it'll be a very fun play to follow. It'll be a very fun thing to spreadsheet out, and I've already got a couple spreadsheets ready to go. John actually we got a shared spreadsheet where we're tracking everything, and yeah, it'll be exciting to see how that all goes. But yeah, so what did I say? The send-off percentage was like 71-ish%, and I didn't the next time I go through them, I'll probably go through 150 more. And I don't know if it'll be exactly 71% again, but it might vary a little bit. Overall, it should be relatively similar. I took boxes from like different locations in the case. I didn't just take the top 6 boxes. But yeah, it'll be a fun play. It's a pretty wild play. James made a couple of posts about how many he sold through ZNG Emporium's eBay. 50 of them or whatever between auction and buy it nows in the span of like a week. So preliminary market feelings off of it. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about it still. What are your thoughts on the eBay vault now that we're a few months into the PSA takeover? Have you personally used it since? So it's no longer the eBay vault, it's the PSA vault now. What are my thoughts on the PSA vault? I have used it a little bit. I've used it a little bit. It's not for me. It's not for me. If I'm going to auction, I'm going to use my own Fanatics Collect. I do have good rates with Fanatics, and I'm able to sell things for a lot cheaper than I could as a regular consumer selling through Fanatics, right? Or if I'm going to use eBay, I'm gonna just auction on my own eBay, or maybe I'll auction on James's eBay. I can get through James, him doing the work. I can get a lower rate than I do on my own eBay. So PSA is nice in that it doesn't have to come back to me. If I want to get it on my own eBay, it has to come to me. I have to do the listing. I have to do the packing. But if it comes back to me, I can just forward it to Fanatics and then not touch it again. I could set up my Fanatics vault as my return address for the submission, and I could not touch it at all. So I would do that before I did the PSA vault, and I would do ZNG Emporium or my own eBay before I did auctioning on the PSA vault. It's just not for me. I think it's great overall for people that want to use it, but it's just not for me. I'm not the consumer of that, which is fine. Yeah, appreciate the question, Silverhawk. Already see the Van Goghs in the background. He's Van Gogh Dan now. Yeah, the one Van Gogh that will never leave the background. Someday, most of these will clear out, but let me go full camera. This one will never leave the background. It is cropped out when let me stay on the wide camera. No one needs to see me that close. I'll stay on the wide camera. That's the one that I won from Brad. That's the one that I won in the 1v1 basketball game in Chicago. So that one will always be there. How's it going, Chef? Chef's always got the Ponga prefers Little Spoon. How's it going, Gem Mint Pokemon? Nice to see you in here, Zach. Wow, where did all this hair come from? I just haven't cut it. I haven't cut it going into winter. I probably am cutting it tomorrow though. So last little glimpse at this next week on Pokeflips. My video for Monday I already recorded. So on my Monday video, I will look the same shirt, everything. But next time you see me live on Pokeflips next week, I will probably have a fair bit shorter hair. I will have a fair bit shorter beard. I'm probably not going to trim the beard as quite as low as I normally do because we are going into winter, but I am going to trim it a bit, I think, so that I look a little bit more, a little bit less homeless maybe before the 2 weddings that I have in back-to-back weekends. Thank you, Digital Monster Deals, for being a member for 8 months. Appreciate you. Got all those emojis there for the 99 cents. Love when the maths. How's it going, X-Ray Hawk? Nice to see you. One thing that I've got to say, like, I have 76 current watchers. There is something cooking in the Pokemon market right now. Clearly, Surging Sparks, all the Bubble Mews doing what they're doing, the 151 Zars doing what they're doing, 151 UPCs being 200, Charizard UPCs being up a ton in the past 6 months. I have 76 viewers though. I have not had 76 live viewers in the past 6 months, I don't think. There was a short time where I was generally in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and then me being me or whatever it was. I don't know if it was seasonality of YouTube or just me not being viral, not being like mainstream YouTube material. I got to where I had 40s to 60s a lot for the live stream viewership. I look at Rusty, like Rusty was live. I don't know if Rusty's still live. Before I went live, Rusty was live. Nostalgianomics was live. I think Royalty Gaming was live. One common theme that I've seen amongst all the different live streams that I watch, viewership is up. Viewership is really up. Prices are up. Liquidity is up. Like the market is just, we are booming. Like I made the video. I titled it the way that I did. Not clickbait. It is honest reality. John, Pokemon Radar, the guy that I partnered with on this gray felt hat play, he made an Instagram story yesterday talking about how crazy the market is we're in, the amount of people talking about it in Discords that I'm in, the amount of people I actually DM'd him about it. He said 100 people DM'd him about it. Like people were just like, oh man, does John have insider info? What's going on? I think it was just general commentary on like the live viewership on YouTube. The live viewership on Whatnot, Fanatics, eBay Live, it is wild right now. We are in a golden era of Pokemon TCG. Whether you play Worlds tournaments, being in Hawaii, California the next couple years, being huge, amazing, booming scenes, record numbers of PSA submissions going out, record numbers of print runs, record numbers of people engaging with and enjoying the hobby. The Scarlet and Violet era, I don't remember exactly, but like the video games are having amazing sales numbers too. Like record numbers, near record numbers of so many different avenues in Pokemon. And it's like whether you're a consumer, straight pure consumer, truest of true collectors, and some people might make the argument, oh well, prices are too high. It's not the best. I had someone push back on one of my YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels today, saying that prices are too expensive. Prices being healthy, prices going up, that ensures the continuance of Pokemon as a whole. Like a lot of businesses, Pokemon itself, eBay, PSA, Fanatics, a lot of these things, if these industries, if these players in the market can't make money, can't make a profit, they'll stop doing it. So many people and Rudy talks about this. He encapsulates it very well with the what's he call them? The game piece warriors or whatever. The game piece people. People who want these things to be worth nothing. If they ever got their wish, Pokemon would cease to exist. If Pokemon stops making money, Pokemon stops making Pokemon. People think they want that, but they don't want that. No one wants that. In actuality, these things need to retain some amount of value. So like, yeah, maybe things are a little bit more expensive than they could have been back when you were the only one that was into Pokemon, back before everyone else got in and ruined it. But that's actually good. That's actually good for the longevity of Pokemon. It's actually good for people to be invested into it and people to be making money in it. It's necessity. It will not continue without that. So I'm going to bounce back and forth between live comments. I'm going to do my best. I try to do that and I don't do very well. But I'm going to try to bounce back and forth between highlighting comments and then trying to stay like on topics as I do with Pokeflips sometimes. Next Gen TCG podcast came back and we enter a boom correlation. I think the boom brought them back. I could be wrong here, but a lot of times there are, and I love them. I love Next Gen TCG. I love Cardboard Hands. I love Slab Podcast. I love Box Nostalgia. I think Box Nostalgia has done well, staying consistent. But one thing I do gotta poke a little bit. I'm Mr. Consistent, right? I've had my Monday video at 1 p.m. for over a year, 2 years. I don't know how long. We've had Pokeflips for going on 4 years now, I think. Going on 3 or going on 4 years. 4 years in February or March of 2025 will be 4 years for Pokeflips. I'm very big on people and on doing things consistent. I love consistent content. There are a ton of less consistent content out there. I love them. I wish they'd stay more regular. Selfishly, I want them to make me the content so I can keep consuming it. But it's not surprising to see a couple things maybe poke back when things pick up a little bit and people are busy. People have things going on. Zach is doing big things in the industry, in the hobby. But I selfishly want more people to stay more consistent because I need that backlog of content so that I can 2x through all of it that I can possibly get. But we got Zach laughing there with that. So did Zach bring in the boom? Did Zach and Tetra bring in the boom, or did the boom bring them back in? Thank you, boom. Thank you, Market Boom, for bringing back Tetra and Zach to me. When will the Dan promo cards boom? Asking for a friend. They've been pretty stagnant for a while. They've been pretty stagnant, but I'm bullish on their future, is what I'll say. Ponga and Bierski haven't missed an episode yet. You'll love to see it. Yeah, very big fan of the all the podcasts that I just mentioned and all the ones that I failed to mention too, because surely I'm gonna forget some too. Let me make sure I'm not missing any questions. Ponga can't wait to have unlimited Van Goghs on stream. 400. That's only a couple days. That's only like a couple weeks worth of market volume. Let me actually see if Graded Edge has the gray felt hat. It should. I always forget if they use the EY or AY. Oh, Graded Edge is not pulling up the gray felt hat right now for whatever reason when I search it. But anyways, one thing that Graded Edge does show, it shows 30, 60, 90-day sales volume, which is really cool to show. Just based off James's Instagram alone, we know the 7-day sales volume is approximately like 50 cards just through him. It might have been 100 cards total. So I might, like John and I probably have less than a month worth. If we could instantly snap our fingers and have all PSA 10s, we would have less than a month's worth of like the market demand for that card, the market volume of that card. But there we go. Dan Azard is working on some Graded Edge plays. You love to hear it, love to see it. You got to run the corners down on the Van Goghs. The Van Goghs do have a rough cut. They have a rough cut. I did not do anything too drastic with the ones that I sent out, but we will see how they go. Don't show that card, Brad. You're gonna be seeing a lot of that card in the coming days, weeks, months, years, decades even. Fresh cut before I visit Ponga. Yeah. I heard having hair is very non-pillar like. Dan Van Gogh. We do have a date night. Myself and my wife will be going out with Ponga and his wife. Really looking forward to that. Bubble Mew. Yeah, Bubble Mew. Benji timed that really well. I timed that really well. Anyone who owns any of that stuff, how's it going? There's no username with this one. Is your username like a single space? It says, what's cooking? That's interesting. Gem Pokemon with the bubbles. Hey, be careful with that B word. We want to use the boom word. The bubble word is a little bit scary. Bubble or bust. Those are the B words that we don't like. We like boom, bubble, bust, broke. Those are bad B words. Let's see. Something is weird. I'm a new nobody, and I notice it down in the niches of the niches of the niches. Dan got that TikTok clout. Now he bragging about his concurrent viewers. Shaking my head. I knew it would go straight to his head. When Dan goes viral, that might be a top signal. When Dan is in a TikTok that gets 400,000 views, something might be afoot. Something might be amiss. Tread cautiously. And one thing that I've actually had people ask me in Discord, in different Instagram, wherever else, what do you do? Like, what did you do in the boom of 2021, 2022 when everything went nuts? Sorry, 2020, 2021. What did you do in the boom when everything went nuts? What did you do during the waifu boom of June 2023, if I remember correctly? What do you buy? You generally, me at least, I do not buy what has just boomed. Sure, maybe I don't buy it at 400 when it then goes to 700 and 800. But I also don't buy it at 800 before it goes down to 400 or 600 or 500, whatever. I've done pretty well at not buying things that were super hot and getting like a 50% haircut. I have a 50% haircut coming soon. I want to keep the 50% haircuts solely to here, not to my wallet, not to my business bank account. So what am I doing right now? I am not buying a lot of the graded edge plays that are currently out. I will tell you some of the graded edge plays that I did have out. I actually have a couple in front of me that were like stragglers coming through. So for anyone in this live stream, the 3 legendary beasts from Crown Zenith, those were ones that were like, you probably didn't need graded edge to tell you that a very popular set like Crown Zenith, very popular Pokemon like Raikou, Suicune, and Entei, and high 10 rate set, very high print quality set like Crown Zenith, you probably didn't need graded edge to tell you that, but how quickly it puts the numbers in front of you, how cleanly, how nicely, it's just really nice to have it. And there are certain cards. I'm not going to name every card that I did. Stay tuned for my upcoming graded edge video in the next month or two, whenever that comes out. It will be a very profitable video, partly because of graded edge, partly because of the boom that we're in. Maybe the boom will go bust before I get mine back and I'll get the upcharges and then I won't sell them for what I was upcharged to at the PSA value tier. But anyways, Bubble Mew was one of the cards. The Gardevoir was one of the cards. A couple different 151 cards that are doing very well were some of the cards pointed out to me by Graded Edge. And yeah, I'll be interested to see when those come back, how those do. But the market is helping me. The market is on my side right now. Sorry, I had a time-sensitive Discord DM to take care of. Booming. We are booming for sure. Go viral equals more views makes sense. But yeah, I have 87 people watching now. Like, those people out there, in the comments, let me know. How did you find your way to me? Have you been a long-term follower of mine? Or are you just finding your way back in? Did you just re-enter the Pokemon market? Are you brand new? Let me know in the comments. Are you brand new to the Pokemon market in the past month? Because 151 is going off, because the Rocket sets are coming, because the Eevee set is coming, because Surging Sparks is on its way. Are you here for the gray felt hats? Are you here because I put a green line in the thumbnail for the first time in one of my live stream thumbnails? But a lot of things are feeling really hot, really boomy. I'm gonna say boomy. I'm not gonna say bubbly. But some things are definitely a little bit bubbly. Be careful out there. Where do you get your Japanese product? Retro's not in here to make me shill for him, but Retro Specs on IG. Retro underscore specs, I believe. Retro underscore specs on IG is where I get most of my. I do get some directly, different Japanese websites, but or sorry, is it it's underscore retro specs. So it's not retro underscore specs. It is underscore retro specs. He has none other than Giovanni himself as his avatar, as his photo. Jesper Anderson. Hey, big fan here. Do you know if I have to pay customs on my PSA return as I'm from Europe? Thanks in advance. If done properly by PSA, I cannot confirm or deny if they will do by you properly. But as far as I understand, in legal terms, those are returned goods. I think, like, the intent of the law, you should have to pay customs on the cost of the grading itself. This is how I understand it. I'm not an international customs tax expert, but the way that I understand it, you should have to pay customs on the cost of grading, but you shouldn't have to pay customs on the total value of the cards. You should not have to pay customs on the value of what you sent, because those are returned goods, whereas the actual service provided, that is value added tax, VAT. That is my understanding. Whether PSA fills the paperwork out properly or not, I have no idea. I hope they do for you. I hope you'll be sorted on that, but I'm not sure. Pocket is going to kill it. I know for like a week there, PokeNE, who else did I see? I saw a handful of people doing the streams for the Pokemon Pocket. I didn't watch any. I'll probably download the app when it comes out for us, but it came out early for New Zealand. Arts look good. Artists gonna art, all that good stuff. Like, I'm excited for it, but I'm not gonna engage too heavy in it. I won't be like a pay to win person. I'll just be free to play, have a little fun with it. And Joker Hour had 8 views. We must be booming. Oh man, I didn't watch that one yet, but I will listen back to that. I saw Ernie and Jake. They had full like wizard get ups. I am not keeping up too in depth on that Discord right now. I'm not sure. They had the moth phase. Now they have the wizard phase. Who knows what's gonna happen next? Nobody's a true collector. That's why the game piece argument fails. I agree, Grimer. How's it going, Brody Plays? Nice to see you in here. You can always learn to draw and make your own TCG. Then you don't have to worry about it. Absolutely. The truest of true collectors. They make their own TCG. I'm not going to be talking much of that right now, Grimer. As you know, I will be talking about that in the future, though, I'm sure. Radar says he'll probably come back. Probably not, but maybe. Will the Boom bring back Radar? Some of the best content I've seen in the Pokemon YouTube space. I hope the Boom brings back Radar. I hope the Boom brings back Radar, and then Radar enables the Boom to go on that much longer. Come on, Radar, we need you. We need all the energy we can get. All the energy we can muster to make this play work. Make this play work. Maybe we'll have you come on live at some point. Right now I'm set up through OBS. It would not be easy. In the future though, like maybe when the cards come back, we do a collab. We get you on. We talk about our play. We talk about the market. Hopefully lines are still green and not red. But no, we would love to have you back. But we understand Radar's always world traveling, doing big things. It was very nice to see you in Chicago, and I hope I get to run into you a couple times again next year. Yeah, Hobby is alive and well. Hobby's doing great. We do need a Radar podcast back. A Wild Radar appears. I think it was all the Jason Page attention that's bringing in more money. The voice of a generation. I do need to update my website with I did buy back another one. I think I'm fully up to date on all the MetaZoo promo buybacks aside from the one I just bought in Chicago. I am behind on that. TCG Player also does show sales volume. That is awesome how they show that. Very, very nice that they put that out there for free, right? You don't have to be a subscription. You don't have any of that. Everyone wants a felt hat. Yes, 30,000 of them, and there are not enough. There are 7 billion people in the world. What's the dunking update? So I am on week 7 of Air Alert. I am down to a, I wouldn't call it a lean 230. I'm down to a pretty fluffy 230 still. Not quite as pudgy, hefty as I was a hefty 255 to start the year, 250 to 255. I'm down to a leaner, I wouldn't call it lean, but I'm down to a leaner 230. I'm not yet dunking. I ache. I ache like a lot all the time. Not all the time, but like I ache a lot. I'm doing every other week. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Air Alert has helped me get down to 230. I have 5 more pounds to go by year end to hit my original goal, which I will do. And I will be dunking. I will be dunking next year. But as far as like trying to test, if I want to try to test, like Monday morning before I start my Air Alert and get tired again, I'm still not fully recovered from like that Friday and going to Chicago and walking miles and miles and playing kickball and playing basketball. I've not been like in fully recovered shape to get a check on my dunk, like on if I can dunk. What I do have though, week 8 for Air Alert is a rest week. Next week is week 8. So between this weekend's wedding and next weekend's wedding, I have the whole week off. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to go for some Pokemon Go walks, catch a bunch of shinies. I'm going to play Pokemon Go. I'm going to maybe, if the weather's nice, go for a bike ride, whatever. Going to get out there and try to be active, try to late jogs, walks, whatever. Stay active, not do nothing, but not do Air Alert. And then like late next week, after a full week of rest from Air Alert, I'm going to recheck my vertical. I'm going to go to my sighting where I sharpied on my sighting how high I could jump. I'm going to see if I can get any higher. And I will update that to Instagram. Hopefully Hopefully I don't go through this whole thing and then like I don't add any vertical. That could be the case maybe. Just sheer like shedding 30-35 pounds, that's going to increase the vertical some amount anyways, right? Like if I lower my weight by 10%, not that I'll necessarily increase my vertical by 10%, but some amount it should go up. All this muscle strengthening, all this air alert workout, like something has to happen. I'm only a few inches away of vertical from dunking. So like I think it's inevitable. If air alert doesn't work, I will try something else in the winter spring. But yeah, but unfortunately, like the couple times that I've gone out and I've tested my vertical, I can either just barely hit where I started or lower. Like my vertical has been lower if anything because I'm so sore, because I'm jumping thousands of times in the morning when I do my workouts. But that's good. It's a good pain. It's a good sore progress. Dan going viral is 100% a top signal. I don't consider Dan going viral until it's off his account. Doesn't count if it's off someone else's. That's fair. That's fair. Very valid, as Grammar says. Dan didn't even get a tag. Everyone watching is like, who is this goofy tall guy? Not viral yet. Oh, that's funny. I mentioned it in my video on Monday, but for anyone that didn't watch a 45-minute video, I do forgive you if you did not watch that. I had a coworker reach out. I had a coworker reach out and say, hey, is this you? They sent me the link to the video. They're like, you just bought 50 grand worth of Pokemon cards? Like, that's crazy. Like, what is going on? So for the first time ever, I've had somebody from my real life, like notice me organically in just some random content, random doom scrolling of TikTok, and then oh man, that tall goofy guy that I used to work with, he's doing Pokemon things now. What do you think of investing in Paldean Fates booster bundle displays? I don't like anything that's not a booster box case, honestly. Like I do a little bit of ETB cases for specialty sets. If it's a specialty set, which Paldean Fates is, to be fair, I like it more than a non-specialty set, so I'll give you that. But overall, I'll talk about it in my video coming Monday. I talked about it in my video 6 months ago. The amount of air, that becomes a consideration. You can fit a lot of money in a relatively small amount of space, but like once you start investing by the pallet, which I'm doing right now, the amount of air does matter. Like I probably have spaces that I could store 10 or 12 pallets like quite easily. And then the next 4 or 5 areas of pallet space, it's like, okay, I got to figure something out. I got to send it offsite, whatever. And then more and more after that, it's like, I don't want to have to come up with a solution for that. So the amount of air I can minimize, the amount of air I can leave out, just get the core product, get the cardboard as dense as possible. That's what leads me away from booster displays and things like that. But overall, I like them better. Like 151, I do have several dozen booster bundle displays. I'm not breaking them down to loose packs, even though it would condense the thing. I think there will be some premium there. Have I talked about Charizard yet? Is that Charizard with respect to like 151 Charizard? I've not talked specifically about that, but I have talked about like Bubble Mew. I've talked about just the general hype around Surging Sparks. I've talked about all the insanity that's going on in the market. But yeah, let's pull up. We've been talking about Graded Edge. We've been talking about some different sites. Let's pull up Pokedata. I feel like I haven't shown and talked about Pokedata in a while. Let's pull up. That's 151. Let's go to that Charizard. And I will make this so you can see it too. And I will grab Pokedata. We'll have to resize it. Bear with me. But yeah, there is the beauty. The Charizard itself. We got to open this up a bunch. So shout out to Pokedata. If you've never used it, it is a pretty solid data compilation website. It does have the raw price. It has TCG Player, Card Market. It has the PSA 10 price. Right now, it's calling the PSA 10 price $476, $475. Sorry, my windows are not behaving. So it has the value low. It has the value lower than it actually is. A lot of these data compilation websites will not keep up when the market is going bonkers, when the market is going stonks. So if you look at the last sales, actually, it's a ways behind. We might have to go right to the source. We might have to go right to eBay. PSA 10 is showing us $476. Let me go back full screen for a little bit. Let me pull up eBay itself. We're gonna have to go right to the source. So PSA 10, 151, Charizard. Let's get the set number in there too, so that we know we're getting the right one. And let's see. Sold listings. So here we go. So sold listings on eBay, 600 bucks, 610, 625, 640, 590, 600. I think we did have some 700s. So maybe it's already starting to like whittle down a little bit. Maybe not though. 612, 571. These are all so 689, 775. Was that actually paid? I don't know. We got a couple James here, 622, 600. Whether like a lot of these were probably paid. Was the 700 paid? Was the 750 paid? I don't know exactly. But like this card not that long ago, Pokédata did show us. Pokédata showed us. So a lot of these are starting to come down a little bit already. What was the absolute top already in? Was the absolute top that 7 something? I don't know, but generally speaking, very generally, what happens with these, not financial advice, this was very likely could have not been paid. A lot of times the singular highest data point doesn't end up paid, and you would have been better off selling this one because that one actually got paid. And then by the time this one gets relisted and reran, it might get 500 next time. But oftentimes what these things do, things will take a big leap up and then they'll crash, but they'll crash back to a new point. And this is not always, this is just oftentimes. They'll crash back to a new baseline that is like a fair bit higher than it ever was historically. I actually have another great card that I can show here to give you an example of exactly what I'm talking about. So I think most people that follow me will be familiar with the Pikachu and Eevee that I always talk about from Jungle First Edition. So I'm going to pull up the Jungle First Edition, if I can find it, Pikachu. And I'm going to go to Pokemon price for this one. So all these different great data compilation websites. This one I'm using Pokemon price. Let's get rid of all this stuff and let's just hone in on the 10. So I was selling these. I was selling these back in 2018. I was selling 21. This was an auction probably. I probably sold mine as a buy it now. I was probably selling buy it nows for 35 when auctions were 20, 25. So back in 2018, the PSA 10 first edition Jungle Pikachu was 20 to 40 bucks. And then in the boom, it went to 1,000, maybe slightly over 1,000. I sold some at 20, and in 2020, it was like 80 bucks in March. In 2019, it was like still 50 bucks, somewhere in there. But it went to 1,000. It 10, 20x'd, and then it crashed. But today, after the crash, with a way higher pop than it ever had. Like look at what the pop did. This is what the pop did. That's the PSA 9, this is the PSA 10. So the pop for all that time slowly trickled up. The boom happened. A ton more came out. A ton more were unearthed. The 10 population used to actually be higher than the PSA 9. So many people in 2020 so recklessly sent everything that the 9 vastly surpasses the PSA 10 now, nearly double. But yeah, like in spite of the pop more than 10xing, the price is still healthy. The price is still a healthy 10x. Price is $200 today. Say it's a 6x. Say it's a 6 to 8x. The price is a healthy 6 to 8x from when it was there. Like that was not reasonable. That was not sustainable. In my opinion, 775 is not reasonable. It is not sustainable. But what do I think will happen? What I think will happen is what almost always happens. Things get too crazy. Things get silly for a week or a month or a year. And then they come back to like something that is more reasonable. I'm not a buyer. I'm not a consumer of that card. At any price really, at any premium in a PSA 10. Because it's such an easy card to grade, and well, it's not as easy as a lot of them, but I'll just buy that card near mint, grade the 10, and sell it, and on to the next one. But overall, prices will get really, really silly. They'll come back, they'll crash back, and a lot of times they stay higher. They absolutely could go lower than they've ever been. PSA 10 Jungle Pikachu could go to 30 bucks again. 151 Charizard could go down back to whatever it used to be again. Absolutely, could happen. But like, generally speaking, that's a fairly common price trend that you'll see. I don't know how I ended up here. This is my first time here. Is this where I come if I want to grab cash? PokeChef was looking for brisket videos. Love to see it. Brand new here in Pokemon. Nice to see you, Paulo Santos. Nice to have you. I would say be careful out there. Be careful out there. There's a lot of great value out there. I think even in this market, there's a lot of great value to be had, but there's a lot of traps too. Generally speaking, if a card has doubled, tripled in the past week or two, 50% increase in the past week or two, generally speaking, that's pretty hot. Might want to be a little bit cautious. It might be more down the line. But very great example. John and I bought 400 gray felt hat Pikachus at nearly 125 a piece. The sticker price was 50K. In my video, I'll detail what we actually paid, the exact amount, but a little bit under 50K. We paid a little bit under 125 a piece. Earlier this year in Houston, I had 60 of these in my hand, 60 or 80. I forget what the number was. Check out my video back in Houston. I had 60 or 80, and I was scared. I saw people with these. I didn't see people with these. I saw people with these, though. I saw people with the inner cases left and right like crazy. Tons of them. I thought the price was going to go down. So I insta-sold for maybe a $2 or $3 a card profit 60 Van Goghs back in February or whenever it was. Earlier this year, I insta-sold them because I was worried the price would go down to 20, 25 bucks for the promos. Now, having the price history, even though I had to pay more, I paid about double what I could have, but I feel more confident paying nearly 125 today because of all the new market data that we have. Because the population's gone to 30K and the price has gone up. The price has gone up. Not from that first week, not from like the very first auction sales. They've gone down from that. But like I feel more comfortable, as crazy as it sounds, I feel more comfortable buying 200, half of 400, split it with John. I feel more comfortable buying 200 of these at nearly 125 a piece than I did buying 60 of them at 60 a piece 6, 8, 10 months ago, whenever it was. So as much as it like might pain you to pay more down the line, all you can do is work with the information that you have as of today. And the information that you have as of today on a card like 151 Charizard is that it just went bananas. It just went bonkers. It just went crazy. So just be careful out there. Everyone's adults. Everyone's got their own money. Spend it how you see fit. But like I would just preach words of caution around times like this with certain things. Depending on your goals, depending on opportunity cost, depending on what you're doing in the hobby. All those caveats, all those disclaimers. Let's see. Ponga's here for his first time here to make money. Love to see it. Underscore retrospect. Someday I'll get it right the first try. Appreciate you, Raymond. Shining Cards and Collectibles. Go check him out. He is on a competing platform of mine. Technically, he is a competitor of mine. But the space is very large. There is space for all of us. I hope we get many, many more people in this space. So go check out Ray, Shining Cards and Collectibles on Whatnot. He recently crossed 10,000 followers. So congrats, Ray, for that. He gifted 10 memberships to celebrate 10,000 followers. We couldn't get 10,000 gifted, unfortunately. That would have been great if Ray could have gifted one for every follower he had. But I will take one for every 1,000 followers that he have. I appreciate you very much, Ray. I hope we cross paths again in, I did see you, where did I see you this year? Charlotte and Orlando? Or just Orlando? I can't remember. Too many conventions, too bad of a memory. But I know I did see you this year at least once, if not twice. Hopefully I'll see you more again next year, Ray. 151 booming and rocket set coming. YouTube also reminded me. PSA is opening in Europe soon too. That would be great for people. I think they do have some official, don't they have some official submitters, some official forwarders that you can send to there? I'm not sure though. 5280 native is here for the giveaway. Sorry, 5280 native. I don't do much of that here. Dan is giving away his Shining Gyarados. Rocket set gonna only be Rockets Pokemon, no Dark Pokemon. Rockets Muck SAR coming. A Rockets Muck, that'd be cool. That'd be nice for Grammar Collects to get his Rockets Muck. Dan, how long will the 151 blip last? 2 weeks. I have no idea. I don't know exactly how many, but I have a lot of 151, a lot being relative, a lot being dozens. I have dozens, like I don't have 100 of any one card. I probably don't have 30 or 40 of any one card. I probably have a couple dozen of several different 151 cards. I know I have Charmander, Charizard. I know I have some Bulbasaurs. I know I have some Blastoise. I have a few different ones. But I might time them perfectly so that PSA upcharges me to that 775 sale, and then by the time I actually get it and sell it, I get like 400 or 500 bucks. Like I will still be happy. I will still be very, very happy to get 500 bucks. But it always is interesting to see that happening. I timed some cards like that during the 2021 boom too. I paid 75 bucks a pop to grade some base unlimited Charmanders from 2-player starter sets, and I caught some well in bulk that I hit upcharges on too, and then the prices were coming down. Same thing with Eevees and Pikachus and all these different, like, so many different things. It's just part of the game. It's part of the game. What do you think is the best Squirtle card to pick up now to hold long term? Thanks. You'll find with me, I'm very much like a caveat disclaimer. I'm very much an open, honest, transparent guy. I need to know more. Like, what are your goals? If your goals are to collect very, very cool art, I will shout out a really, I love showing tools that I use and websites that I use. I will shout out one card that I use. I know some people use the collector app, but like if I want to just see all the artwork for a given card, I go to pkmncards.com. I love that site. Let me get it pulled up for you. I love this website, covering me up. But like I just typed in Squirtle. I typed in Squirtle, and like, what are your goals? Are your goals to just collect and have a good time? I would go to a website like this, and I would just find arts that I like, and I would buy them, and I would fill a beautiful binder from start to finish. And you might, like, card like this is going to be a lot more expensive than a card like this one. And like one's a common, one's a an art rare, SIR, all these different acronyms. But buy what brings you value, buy what brings you joy. If you're in it for money, to hold long term. So presumably you're in it for money. I don't really spec on cards. I like to say, instead of just talking, I'm more about the walking. Like what am I actually doing? I do invest in hold long-term modern sealed. So instead of telling you what you should do or this or that, I just show you what I do and I tell you why I'm doing it. So if I had to tell you what I was doing with Squirtle cards, I'm buying cool ones, grading them, and selling them for a premium. The only ones that I've graded, or the only ones that I like really would grade from this list are probably the 151 and then this one right here. But there's tons of great arts. There's tons of great cards. I don't know why I'm only seeing 29. Surely there's more Squirtles than these 29, isn't there? Is that it? There's our Nirvana one, our PK right there. That kind of blows my mind. There's only 29. But anyways, yeah, like if you are investing, I have a hard time, and most of Pokemon YouTube does not have a hard time talking about things they don't do. So much of Pokemon YouTube is filled with people role playing as a Pokemon investor when they own, like, if you look at my background, if you didn't know the palettes that I have, the inventory that I have that I show in other videos, if the only context you had was what was behind me, it's like, okay, the guy's got a Metazoo box in a Pokemon video for whatever reason. The guy's got a Brilliant Stars Pokemon Center ETB, and the guy's got some open boxes on his top shelf. Like, should I trust this guy? I'm very transparent on my broader channel. I constantly am talking about like what I have, what I'm doing, how long I've been here. I think that stuff is all relevant and important. I don't speculate long-term in single cards, really. I guess the closest that I have to that is like buying a couple hundred Greninja Gold Stars when they were $2. I do buy hundreds of like very, very cheap cards from time to time, but most cards like the Squirtle 151 and the other one, the full art, I don't buy more expensive ones in vast quantities. When I'm putting like 40 bucks or 20 bucks, 10 bucks even into a card, I'd rather just times that by 9 and put it into a box and keep a sealed modern box. So yeah, I don't want to speculate on things that I don't do. It would just be talk where I'm not walking. I want to show the walk that I'm doing so that people can see that and take that into account, take that into context for what they're doing, and take that for the entertainment value or educational or whatever value that might bring to you. Um, Bubble Mew is at 510 for PSA 10. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. It is one of my favorite card arts in the SMV era, but I do not value it at 510. Maz just remortgaged his house to buy 151. Good luck to you, sir. Miha the Mighty. That's normal with air alert. Your vertical goes down, then up. Yeah. Yeah, I'm way too sore to jump too high. Um Looking forward to your vintage video. I'm gonna do a video. Things are brewing in vintage as well. A lot of the highlights, a lot of the thumbnails, a lot of the hype lives in ultra modern for a good reason. Most of the most of the big businesses pulling money out of Pokemon, Pokemon themselves, PSA, eBay, Target, Walmart, Costco, all these companies, they make most of their money in ultra modern. So ultra hype, ultra liquidity, ultra market cap, all the big money, like the majority of it, volume wise, market volume wise, is in ultra modern for a good reason. But like vintage, I just recently had a consigner submit to me not all 27 gold stars, 27 vintage gold stars, because now you have number 28 with Greninja. But I had a consigner submit to me 19 gold stars at solid, like I'm not saying solid deal prices for the buyer. I'm saying at solid prices we listed them. Buy it now on my eBay at very solid prices, like low list on eBay, but at or above last sale by like a hefty margin in some cases. And we've already sold like 8 of them or something. We've already sold over a third, almost half of what we've listed in the past week. High end PSA 8, 9 gold stars, like multi 4-figure cards, some of them, multi several 3-figure cards, some of them. But my PSA 9 Shining Gyarados, that card that I kind of like set back. There's a number. At some point, there's a number. I will sell that card. But like when I set it back, it was like $1,400. I think they're going for like $2,500 now. So think big things are happening in vintage too. Not quite as visible, not quite as like widespread maybe as what's happening in modern, but big things are happening too. Uh, I wouldn't call what's happening right now a Black Swan event. I wouldn't call it as big as what happened during 2020, 2021, but it's pretty big right now. Mia's a vintage Japanese promo collector. Hey, stuff's cheap, right? Stuff's cheap. Keep buying. Keep buying. Keep enjoying. If you value it more than the market, you buy. If the market values it more than you sell. That's what it comes down to. Appreciate you, Gem Mint Pokemon. Thank you, Zach. Gifted 10 memberships. Everyone enjoy your emojis. I see Ray. Ray, who gifted memberships, is now a recipient of one from Zach. So enjoy your new emojis. Oh, did Zach get one from? So Zach got one. Look at that. I can't show that on screen, but Ray gifted 10 and Zach got one, and then Zach paid it forward and Ray got one. So you love to see that. I see PK got one too. See, Ponga says PK lurking, and I thought that was the case too. I doubt he could be listening to this while he's streaming on Fanatics, but PK is live right now currently on Fanatics. I assume he's not here. I did find out, like, for sure. I've received a gift when I was not in a stream. You get an email and it says you just like got a gift subscription to this thing, so you don't have to be present to get it. I used to think when someone would gift memberships that we would be pulling out all the lurkers, but like it is not a guarantee that the people getting the gifted subs are actually here. So I have verified that firsthand. And I've been in streams too where there's like 30 live viewers and someone gives 50 subs. Shout out to Amplitude back in the day. There were times where I had 40 viewers and Amplitude would give 50 subs. So like inherently, some were going to people that weren't present at the same time. 3K a very low PSA 10 pop. Relative. It's all relative, right? Like 30,000 is the gray felt hat PSA 10 price, PSA 10 population. And in some ways, by some metrics, it is not enough. It's always enough, and supply and demand always, like market price by definition is the equilibrium between supply and demand. If there's more of something coming, the price will generally go down given fixed demand. If there's fixed supply and the demand goes up, generally speaking, like the price will go up. Fundamental Econ 101, supply and demand, how that all works. But yeah, Low pop is a relative term. 3K for a 10 pop. It is low relative to the gray felt hat. It is low relative to some modern sets, some modern chase cards. Low relative to Moonbryon. Relative to like any card between 1999 and 2021. Like, no, that's very high relative to like most of Pokemon TCG's history. And the arguments, the debates, all the different conversations have happened. How will that flesh out in 5, 10, 20 years? We can all speculate. We can all place our bets. That's why my channel is very much, I am one person interacting in the market. I'm one market player, one market participant. By no means am I like there are people doing things in a warehouse, by the pallet, by the truckload. I have a couple pallets. I have several pallets. I do low 7-figure revenue over the year, including what I do with consignments. But I just like to be transparent, like to show the context of what I am, what I have, what I'm doing, and people can make their own guesses and place their own bets from that. That's all I'm here for. I'm here to hopefully educate a little bit, entertain a little bit, probably less than educate, probably a little bit of each though. And then people just hopefully entertain, have a good time. Those are my goals with this channel. Nate says anything under 10K is low pop, I think. Then, I mean, if you ever looked at pops of ultra vintage cards, whatever we want to call them, vintage cards, mid-era cards, if 10K is low pop, then what is 10? What is 20? I just sold on consignment recently through Fanatics Collect. I sold the Dark Venusaur promo, Venusaur Black Star promo number 13, I believe. It was let me go to my own Instagram to make sure I'm not quoting the wrong numbers now. I might as well not speculate. I might as well just share the actual numbers. It was recently, so it should be right here. Yeah, so and people, a lot of times it's like clickbait. A lot of times it's like you want to say something to get people emotional, that get people commenting, get people interacting. The algorithm loves when people get emotional because they engage. Engagement is what it's all about. So that is just going to happen. But yeah, let me go to camera. Let me go here. So people will say population doesn't matter at all. 10,000 is low pop, this, that. Like, population does matter. People say demand is the only thing that matters. Supply matters too. If a card has 30,000 pop and the price is 300, well, if the card had 300,000 pop, the price would be less. I don't know what it would be exactly, but it would be less. Like, pop does matter. Pop will matter in the future. How much will it matter to a lesser extent? Maybe. We can all speculate, absolutely. But like, this card is 24 years old. It had 3,144 graded, and only 9 got a PSA 10. And the card sold, I don't have the sale price here, so let me get rid of that, and let me go. It was sold and paid. So let me go over to Fanatics, and let me pull up the sale history on that. I was the seller of this one. It was not my own card, but it was a consigner card. I can verify it was paid, so it was a legitimate data point. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the sold listings. $19,200. So yeah, this card sold for 19,000. Where are we? Why are we not showing? Oh, that's why we're not showing, because I didn't have it up. But yeah, $19,200. So like, pop clearly matters to an extent. I don't think that one is bought solely for the artwork, the history. Like, it is a cool card. It did have a cool Black Star promo, original WotC release, like cool history to it. But 19,200, that is demonstration that like pop matters to some people. Like, maybe there's only 20 people in the world, 50 people in the world that care about having a complete PSA 10 Black Star promo set. But to those people, clearly the supply demand equilibrium worked out to where it was $19,200. Sorry, I have way too many tabs open now. Let me continue on. Why does Dan have emo hair now? My hair is very like, if I don't train it back to the middle, it'll part itself. It'll go way to the side. It's not something I intentionally do. Simple Plan is also making a comeback. That's something I definitely listened to a fair bit in high school, mostly against my will when I was riding with my sister to school. I have an older sister who it beat taking the bus. It beat taking the bus, riding with her, listening to her some of her music was fine, but a lot of it I was not a big fan of. Simple Plan I think is better than a lot of the other ones that I didn't like. I can't remember everything, but he's reached the rich stage where appearances don't matter. Hey, I'm locked down, not trying to impress anyone clearly. Uh you know what is a trend in the woods of upstate New York? I have 104 people watching. The boom is now. I promise you. I've not had 100 people watching in a while. What I think I started to say it a while ago. And maybe that's what got John out of lurking. I don't know if John is still here, Radar. But John made that post on Instagram talking about how the market is crazy and like you should be going live. You should be going live selling stuff. You should be going live talking about the market. You should be going live doing something. If you make content, if you do business in Pokemon, you should be making content doing those things because the people are here for it. The consumer demand is there. The ad revenue is there. The affiliate clicks are there. You need to be participating right now if you are here in this market because like something is afoot. 151 Charizard is doing big things. Surging Sparks is doing big things. Dan is having 100 concurrent viewers. It's been a while. Very infrequently on this channel's history have I had 100 concurrent viewers. The MetaZoo bankruptcy stream is still the most concurrent viewers I had. 200 or 300 somewhere in there. But something is brewing, as John said in his story. Fire up those old podcasts, fire up those old YouTube accounts, create a new YouTube account. Like, more content the better. Then we can be more choosy with what we want to watch, right? Let's see. Oh yeah, one thing I was gonna say though. I pulled this comment up of Grimer Collects. I don't know if it's just an upstate New York thing. I don't know if it's just a like where I live. When some people say upstate New York, they think Poughkeepsie, they think Albany. I live up near Syracuse. I don't live way up in the Adirondacks near like Potsdam. I don't live way in the woods, way in the boonies. But like I live in the boonies. Where I live in New York is closer to like the South than it is New York. Not geographically, but like lifestyle wise and how a lot of things are. Mullets though. When I had to pick up my kids from school today, and I have to pick them up the next 2 days because they have half days. But the amount of mullets floating around in elementary school, the amount of I make the joke. I make the joke when I do my presentations on the Collecticons. I do business in the front, party in the back. I do the mullet style presentation. And mullets are a thing. I like we go to occasionally we go to the high school for like what's the last thing we went to? Oh yeah, they have like art shows. Sometimes my kids' artwork from the elementary will make it over to the high school. We go there for Cub Scout meetings too. My son's in Cub Scouts now. We just did all the popcorn sale stuff. But going to the high school, going to the elementary school, all these flowing locks, all these like mullets, they're a thing again. I don't know. I don't know if it's just in upstate New York. I don't know if it's just in my county. I don't know if it's. Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Are the kids wearing mullets again? Are the kids getting into mullets again? Someday maybe. I've never had one. Someday, who knows? Way back in the day. Actually, funny enough, I'm not gonna show them now. Someday, maybe if we get 500 live viewers in here someday. Oh, I don't have the good one. I have trading cards in my hand right now from back when I played Pop Warner football and when I played Little League baseball. I have trading cards that my team made. We did the photo shoots with the team and we did individualized like trading cards. My rookie cards here in my hands. I can't show them because I'll dox myself for one. And then two, I will show them someday. I know I've talked about them probably a year or two ago. I talked about them. I need to make sure they're not on my desk camera in case I turn that on. But someday I'll show those. One of them I'm sporting a ridiculous bowl cut, a terrible, horrible bowl cut. Back when I had huge glasses, it is a look. It is a vibe. I don't think I'll ever revisit the bowl cut, but someday maybe I'll run a mullet. Uh, do I say elementary weird? Elementary? El I say elementary. Is it supposed to be elementary? Elementary. I don't know how much for the Dan rookie. My mom probably has more copies. I need to figure out what the total pop is. My mom probably has copies floating around somewhere, but I think I have 2 or 3 baseball, and then 2 or 3 football. This football one I have in front of me. I need to make sure I don't show this on camera. um, I was 4'11" at 10 years old, and I weighed 84 pounds. Um, I was in Pee Wee. I was an excellent team player and a great sport. I was a right tackle. And then baseball, I was 12 and I was 5'3" and 99 pounds. So that time stamps for me. At 10, I was 4'11" and 84 pounds. And at 12, I was 5'3" and 99 pounds. Interesting. Um, when I was growing up, we did, I think a lot of people do this. We're doing this with my kids too. We did it in the house I grew up in. We had a closet. We had a closet like off of our living room that my sister and I would, on our birthdays, we'd stand up, we'd do the Sharpie mark, and we'd do Dan age 8, Dan age 10. And I don't have that anymore from when I was younger. I don't have the one. My wife and I, we made these things that like we put on our wall. So when our kids move out someday, if they want them, if they don't want them, we'll keep them. Never get rid of those. But like it's a big thing. Every day on their birthday, we go, we mark their height. And yeah, they'll have those forever if they want them. Just seeing how they grew over time, that'll be interesting. I have no idea. I do know I graduated high school at approximately 5'11", and then I'm like almost 6'5" now. So I grew late. I was not super tall. I was not like really tall. I was not a center on the basketball team. But it's cool. It's cool. I don't know if that's a lot or a little. I would wager it was a pretty little. I used to be really thin. When I was in like elementary, middle school, I was really thin. I got a little bit pudgier in late middle school towards high school for sure. A little bit pudgier. But sorry, I just went on a huge rant. This is for anyone new here. I go on these rants, all different things all the time. But appreciate you guys hanging out. As always, let me know if you have questions in the comments. I will get to every question eventually. Great thing about being a smaller channel. Great thing about having only 100 concurrent viewers, which is like double what I have had the past few months. I will get to every question. Chat does not outpace me. I will be live till midnight, 1 o'clock if I have to get to every question. So leave your questions in the chat and I will get to them. Easier to lurk with no name. I see that, yeah. Lucky K says, sometimes I receive gifted subs days after I was in someone's stream. Let's see. Y'all have fun. Gotta go mail one card. This boom is wearing me out. If you want this glamorous life, you came to the right place. Ponga has to teach me how to round corners in Canva. I'm sure I can figure that out. Here we go, Nostalgianomics. So one of the things that I mentioned earlier in the video, like Alex recently has been, while I was mowing my lawn today, probably last mow of the season, I was listening to Pokemart USA, his channel. They have a little podcast. They have a big podcast, a much bigger podcast than Pokeflips. They have a podcast where they every week just talk about the Pokemon market. Eli has access to distribution at a much higher level than I do. So it's like really good, relevant information, timely information as to what's actually going on in the market. I talked about earlier how there's tons of people in this space, in the YouTube space, like role playing as a Pokemon investor. Eli and Alex are two people that are actually like in it. Maybe I wish there was a little bit more transparency, a little bit showing numbers of what he actually has in Alex. Maybe he'll share some of that, more of us with us down the line. But he is someone who actually has money in this, and 300, 400, 500 live concurrent viewers at a time. I don't know what his numbers were. Maybe similar to mine. Like mine were, past few months, mine have been about 50, and they've doubled to 100. Maybe Alex's were like 150, 200, and now they've doubled to 300, 400, 500. But it's a wild time right now. It's a wild time. But I was not trying to pump that. I was just talking about like 10k pop versus 10 pop. Like, you had to be there, I guess. You had to be there. PokeSen says, I just clicked on the video and heard that and thought of Alex. um, do I think that 151 Japanese Zard SAR is worth selling right now? What are your goals? What are you gonna do with the money? Biggest thing I always ask myself before I make a big sale, what am I gonna do with the money? Do I very infrequently, unless I think things are just absolutely like way too crazy, I ask myself like, what am I gonna do with this money? So like Twilight Masquerade, case they're $1,000 right now. I'm doing things like I have the live streaming. So if I sell $1,000 case of Twilight Masquerade, it'll just go into my normal cash flow, and it'll go into buying stuff for PK and Ponga to stream. It'll go into buy graded edge plays to grade and sell on eBay, sell on Fanatics. It'll go into like my normal business operations. I need to sell every month. I need to sell like 50 to 100 grand worth of stuff to be able to pay all my distribution invoices, to be able to buy all the collections that people reach out to me with, to be able to like keep things going. So every month I set out, and I don't have like super specific things. A lot of times it's just like I put everything out there, and whatever people buy, they buy. But I don't necessarily have like I have to sell this month. It's like list a bunch of stuff. Once enough stuff sells, it's like, okay, I'll keep things listed. If people want to pay a premium price, if people want to pay a bunch of money, I'll take it, and then I'll funnel it into something else. But like back in 2021, 2020, I knew $1,000 EV. The thing is, the crazy thing is, I knew $300 EV couldn't sustain, and then it went to 600, and I knew that couldn't sustain, and then it went to 1,000, and then I knew that couldn't sustain. I sold the whole way up, I sold the whole way down, and I consciously, at the time, I had a mind that like I might do this full time someday. I myself could not quit my job to do Pokemon full time with any debt of any kind. So I took a lot of money out, and my answer to the question, should I sell my Eevee? Should I sell my Pikachu? Should I sell my Evolutions case? Should I sell my whatever it may be, PSA 9 WotC Holo card? Should I sell my PSA 9 Gold Star set? Should I sell my PSA 9 EX era set? Should I sell my PSA 9 Legends? Should I sell? The answer to all those things was yes, because I thought the prices were unrealistic, unsustainable, and I had a place I was putting the money. I paid off my house. I bought my future freedom. I bought my future ability to quit my job and do Pokemon full time. On top of paying off my house, I stashed a bunch of money in the bank, and I built runway to quit my job and start this as a business. So always be aware of opportunity cost, and always know what you're going to do with the money. Don't just sell to do nothing with the money. Don't just sell to let the money sit in a bank account. If you're trying to be like, it all depends on where you're at. It depends on where you're at, what your opportunity cost is. If you have 30% credit card interest, that's where I would personally attack first, always. Financial order of operations. I have so many videos in my backlog that address how I think about money and what I do with my money. I don't know where you are in your journey, so I can't really tell you. But if you're collecting, and if you have one, and if you love it, if you value it more than the market, no, it's not worth selling right now. If you have 50 of them and you bought them at half what they are now, and you were speccing on them to make money, it could be worth selling now to put your money into something else. So highly depends on context. Oh, speaking of low pop stuff too, Alex, whoever else is here that wants to hear about low pop stuff, PSA 10 new cert. Maybe Gem Mint Pokemon himself will perk up at the mention of this one. So I have not listed it yet. I am privately pushing out information. It is a pop 16, I believe. PSA 10 Shadowless Chansey. Very, very hard. The hardest to grade in the Shadowless set. But I am privately shopping this a little bit. I probably won't privately shop it too long. I will probably list it on my eBay by Thursday if it doesn't sell between now and then. But yeah, a very, very low pop. Very, very highly desired set card. Chansey's pretty popular. You've got your Chloe's out there, who I believe that's her favorite Pokemon. But it's just like the key for the set. I'm a coin collector in my early days, and I still do it a little bit. But like a big thing in coins is the key for the set. The 1916D Mercury Dime. The lowest mintage. The lowest pop of the set. So this is the key for base set Shadowless, PSA 10. Because it is the lowest pop. And yeah, 1916D Mercury Dime, 1909 SVDB Lincoln Wheat Set Penny. But yeah, I just wanted to, in case anyone out there, in case there's any whale out there looking for a PSA 10 Shadowless Chansey, hit me up. It will be going to eBay by Thursday, but I will be probably posting it on Instagram tomorrow and seeing if anyone is out there interested on behalf of my consigner. Lucky K says, I have a complete master set of 1996 Japanese-based Pokemon, includes all holos, base rare trainers and energies, all PSA 9. Never offered it for sale. Where do you think the best place to sell all? I know most people who go through the journey of compiling a set like that don't like to hear it. But the answer almost always is going to be selling it separately. So there are some Chansey collectors that would buy this solely because it's a Chansey. Most people that will buy this are a set collector. But most people who want this card to complete their set already have a lot of their set. Most people who want a complete PSA 9 Japanese base set already have some of them. So it's like, if I already have the Charizard and the Venusaur and the Blastoise, I bought the big three, and I want all the holos. I don't want the energies. I don't want the trainers. I don't want the commons and uncommons. I won't buy from you if you're selling the whole set as one, because I don't want all that. But if you list them all individually, it is more work, but you will most of the time get more money piecing things out separately. Feel free to reach out to me if you're interested. I do consignments. Right here through Fanatics Collect. Different. Actually, this is my old. No, this is updated. So yeah, I do. I return to you up to 95%. I don't think no card in that set will be over 2,400. But based on the value, I return to you that percent of total sale price. If you're interested, I would suggest you reach out to different consigners. There's Z&G Emporium on eBay, DC Sports, Probstein. There's me on Fanatics Collect. There's a lot of different options out there. I'd also make you an offer too. Feel free to email me. I'd make you an offer on that, and then I'd just sell it myself. I'd split it up through live streams. Some of them I'd send to Fanatics. Some of them I'd send to eBay. But like, overall, you're going to get less money selling as a set 99% of the time. It is the exception where the set garners a premium. Almost always, the sum of the parts are greater than the whole. That's my thoughts. Very educated, very well-experienced thoughts. I've sold many, many cards. I had a complete PSA 9 Gold Star set. That is one exception. I sold that as a set. I had one big whale come knock on my door during the early stages of the boom. I sold that all in one go. But my PSA 9 EX set was broken up. My PSA 9 Legends, my PSA 9, all the different PSA 9 WotC sets, those were all broken up. Very rarely do you get a premium selling as a set. Too many plays, not enough capital. I hear that. Yeah, Alex had over 600 viewers on his live. It's wild right now. I have over 110 right now. It is insane. Like, I don't know where all these people are coming from. It's wild. How loose have you been when grading with PSA recently? Will you send it for the right card with a white dot or two? What about centering being off on a Charizard EX with one dot? Context matters. So, again, shout out to Graded Edge. Let's look at Charizard EX from Celebrations. Not Celebrations, 151. So, Graded Edge. The main thing I come back to is how punishing is the 9 and how rewarding is the 10. Certain cards you have to fear the 9 more because the 9 will just beat you up. Like on this card in particular, and this card is gonna be a little bit weird because yeah, the numbers are so screwed up. So this, I'm on the Japanese one, sorry. Here we go. So here's the English one. Prices are gonna be wonky because the market is doing the market things. But yeah, let's pull up this. So here is the Charizard. Here's the Charizard from 151. If you look at it on Graded Edge, so the raw is probably way off. This is calling the raw 163. Good luck finding one on there. They're probably way more than that on TCG Player. Let's actually check quickly. Let me go back full screen quick. Let me check on TCG Player what you actually have to pay for the Charizard EX from 151. Where are you, Charizard from 150? There you are. So according to Graded Edge right now, when things are booming, it's gonna be a little slow. It's not gonna be perfect. But right now, the buy box is 221. Look at what the chart just did. Lightly played, heavily played. So the lowest, that's a Japanese one. The lowest near mint Charizard right now. Let me just filter for it. The lowest near mint English Charizard right now is 185. And Graded Edge is calling it 163. But Graded Edge is also calling the 10 400 when they're over like 500. So the 10's over 500. The expected, the EV, if you could get the raw card, let's say you got to pay 200. If you get the raw card for 200 right now, say you're at a convention, say you're at an LGS, and you can pay 200 for one that you are quite confident will 10. The 10 rate on this is only 38%. So the 10 rate is low. The 9 is very punishing. With a $200 raw card cost, you lose $80 on a 9. That's pretty punishing to lose $80. But still, that said, the EV is over $30 with these numbers in taken into account. So there will be instances where the 9 punishes you a lot. Like I don't want to lose $80. I don't want to lose $20 when the 10 might only stand to make 20. So if the 10 stands to make you 20 and the 9 loses you 25, you need to fear the 9. You need to be very harsh. You need to be like, yeah, you need to be careful. But with like these cards, the PSA 9, you lose a little bit of money. You probably increase the liquidity having a PSA 9 over having like a sealed one that people will presume is not gradable. So having a PSA 9, you might slightly increase the liquidity. You might lose 10 or $20. But when you grade one of these in a 10, you get like $100, $150 premium. So when the win is 150 and the loss of a 9 is only 10 or 15, like full send, send very borderline stuff, centering, send white dots. Like I don't care. Some people blow my mind. And I have an upcoming video. I said it was going to be this Monday and it's not going to be next Monday. It's going to be a few weeks out now. But when I get cards back from PSA 10s have white dots. PSA 10s can have light surface scratches. PSA 10s can be 60-40 off center, which looks pretty bad to the naked eye. A lot of people are out here pre-grading like they're going for black labels when they send a PSA. PSA is the easiest grader by far for their highest grade. Their highest grade is significantly easier to get than a pristine or a black label overall. Their gem mint is easier to get than the CGC gem mint on a lot of ultra modern cards too. Some people won't like to hear that, but numbers are numbers. Look at my backlog of videos where I have some ones that show you that exactly. But it's all relevant to the card. So how punishing is the 9? How rewarding is the 10? Can you say elementary again? Elementary school. Elementary. In spite of me talking about mullets, in spite of me being myself, I have over 100 concurrent viewers. This market is wild. We are in a boom. Mullets are a thing in most rural areas. That's hilarious. I'm 20 minutes behind. I need to listen now. I had to. So pronounce. Can't type when I'm off center from my keyboard, so I can't type well. Elementary. Elementary. Yeah, you say tree, but I don't say tree. Elementary. Maybe it's a regional thing. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. We need a Lowland Dugtrio mullet card, the Hansen card. I need a Dan rookie card with a game worn patch. My parents might have some of my old jerseys. I think I have something. I have a couple different jerseys from when I was in high school for sure. I don't know about like Pop Warner, Pee Wee. I don't know if I have those. Oh no, I jumped to the bottom. A game used beard patch. Oh god. Oh man. So what made you decide to make the big Van Gogh purchase? So when I went to Chicago Collecticon, I had in my mind, I had my sights set on buying like 4 of these approximately. So what is in here is 25 of these, 25 gray felt hats. And so 25 gray felt hats. I wanted to buy like 100. I ended up buying 200. I ended up buying I had none. It was a play that I'd missed. Another upcoming video. I'm always talking about upcoming videos. When the poncho boxes happened. When the poncho boxes happened, I was there. I did not buy them. When the screams happened, I was there. I bought a bunch. I have one. Maybe you can barely see. Can you barely see that? I don't think you can see that. I was there for the poncho boxes. I did not buy them. I kicked myself for missing them. I was there for the Scream cards. I bought a lot of them. I bought a lot of Scream cards. I wish I bought a lot more. I was there for the Van Goghs. I bought them. I immediately sold them. I sold them for a couple dollar profit. I talked about it earlier in this live stream. I kicked myself for having sold out on them so quickly. So when I heard, shout out to Rainbow Jim, when I heard from my friend Rainbow Jim that there was an individual with multiple sealed cases of Van Gogh Gray Felt Hat Pikachus, I knew it had to happen. It had to happen. I made some calls. Nobody wanted to YOLO in on with me, except for John. So hopefully John and I will be rewarded for our degeneracy. But like, they were there. Some people are like, you're crazy. Why are you paying a premium? They sell individually for like 110 on eBay sealed, which is a fact, which is true. Most of the ones you see on eBay for 110 sealed have been pre-graded. Most of those you cannot buy. You cannot buy those and then send off for grading and get a representative sample of, like, I think the PSA 10 rate's about 50%. You will not get 50% PSA 10 rates blindly buying sealed ones on eBay, opening them and sending them for grading. You likely, you might get 50% if you blindly buy a case and open it, but like the best way, the only way to get guaranteed, undisturbed, like not pre-graded cards, I bought this sealed case and I opened it myself. These cards were not pre-graded. I'm the one doing the pre-grading. The way these 25 count boxes are, even if you buy one of these, it's sealed on one end, it's open on the other. You don't have to break any seal to open these boxes. You can pre-grade all of these. You can put 25 grading misses in here and you can sell it into the market. I'm not going to do that. If I like anytime I sell, there's enough money to be made being open and honest. I'm not going to sell these as if they have a chance at being a Gem Mint 10. I'm not going to put 25 in a box and pretend like I didn't pre-grade them. All of mine will be sold as grading misses, and hopefully we will still make good money on the play. Do I have my girls volleyball ball rookie still? Right tackle, that means he sucked. I think that year of, yeah, I never was a position player in football. So the way I was in athletics, I was really good. I was really fit. I was really lean. I was really athletic through the end of middle school. By the time early high school came around, again, I wasn't super tall. I was like average height. And I got like pudgy. I put on a little weight, probably about like what I am now. I don't know what the weight was then in absolute terms, but I was definitely, I wouldn't say I was not as bad as I am now. I'm definitely more out of shape, more overweight now than I was in early high school, early mid high school. But yeah, I excelled in middle school athletics. High school athletics, I would say I was like better than average on the team, but I was not one of like the stars on the team. Baseball, early baseball, I was actually one of the better ones on the team. I pitched a little bit. I played shortstop or third, or out, like I was left field, shortstop, third, or pitcher or something. I was playing like the key positions, but I didn't play baseball into high school. We don't need to go down that many personalized rants. Next, he will say he played outfield in T-ball. Oh, man. I never hit one out of the park. I never hit one over the fence. But we had, out of all the teams we played, we had the deepest center field. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't City Field. It wasn't 400 feet. It was the deepest one, though, all year long. People would hit balls out of different parks on occasion. I forget what age I'm talking, like 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. At my peak, 10, 11, 12 was like my prime years for athleticism and sports. But I never hit one out of any place. And one guy on my team, he hit it out of our home field, which was the only one that had happened all year long. Like that was a huge deal when it happened. It was wild. Um, let's see. Um, the next updates on potential new Dan promos. I would not hold your breath on that. Thought you were going to ask about the old Dan promos. Don't hold your breath on an update on the old Dan promos, but there might be something before the year end, but also I don't know. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Yes, I am 6'4 3/4" now. I graduated high school at like 5'11", and then the height came out of nowhere. It was crazy. Um, how many Surging Sparks PC ETBs are you ordering? So as far as I know, I think they are still up available for order, right? I've ordered none. The PC ETBs, like, they do really well sometimes, and I'm glad that I had bought the ones that I did. I'm glad that I had a couple dozen, maybe a dozen 151 PC ETBs that I had. But I don't like not having an advantage in the buy side. I don't like that I have to pay sales tax. I don't like that I have to add a new SKU. Like, I love getting 38 cases of booster boxes because I have 38 cases, or I have like a couple hundred of the same SKU. I don't want to add like 8 of a SKU or 20 of a SKU. If I could just click a button and order 80 Pokemon Center ETBs, I would do that. If I could order 200 of them, I would do that. Having to play the game and worry about Pokemon Center calling me a robot, which hurts my robot feelings, and then getting blocked from Pokemon Center for an hour or a day or a week or however long, and having to pay sales tax and having to pay this and that. Like, it's just a hassle. The last time I did it in depth, the last time I did it extensively was celebrations, and I wasn't mad about having done that either. It's just an annoying play to make, to be honest. It's kind of a weird thing. Maybe it's a weird take. People will be surprised to hear it in that way. Like, I think it could do well, but I'm more of a fan of the ETBs. Like, I'm not a fan of set ETBs as part of it too. I'm not a huge fan of set ETBs. I'm a bigger fan of the half set, the specialty set ETBs. So I would be more likely to do it for your 151s, things like that, celebrations. Yeah, just like the pain that it is, not being able to order at the scale I want to order, having orders get canceled, having to pay sales tax, this and that. It's just the hassle that I don't undergo. I've bought 0. I intend to buy 0. Maybe something changes. Maybe I'm buying. You've got me on PokemonCenter.com, which is dangerous. I see they've got some new skateboards out. They've got some new comfy cuddlers plushes. I'll probably end up buying something before I close this window. They got all your holiday train stuff, all your holiday Pokemon Village figure things out. They got a Pikachu and Staryu tree topper, which I'm gonna add that to my cart right now. If it's still in stock, I'm probably gonna have a Pikachu and Staryu tree topper. Hopefully, people go buy that out so I don't spend $40 on a tree topper I don't need. Our tree topper, actually, I always have to fiddle with it. It's probably gonna end up like shorting out and like burning the tree or something. But I'm talking myself into getting this now. I'm gonna have a Pikachu and Staryu tree topper for the safety of my family. I'm gonna justify the $40 purchase. I'm gonna do it right now so I don't have to do it later. But I'm not gonna buy Surging Sparks PC ETBs. I'm just gonna buy this one thing because I get free shipping over $20. Credit card. Put in my 3 numbers. Boom. I almost have my Pikachu and Staryu tree topper. Thank you, Pokestan, for costing me $43.49. Kids and wife can look forward to a new tree topper, and I can throw away the old one now. Or 30 YouTube. I'm a small investor, a year in with net of 15K. I have 2K and 151. Do I sell right now and cash flow into new sets or stay long-term 151? I don't need any money for lifestyle, just investment growth question. So if I put myself in your shoes, if I was a year in with a net of 15K, having 2K and 151, 151 what? 151 UPCs, say you have 10 of them, because they're approximately 200 a piece. You can always partially do things too. You can always half-ass it, right? Say you have 20 UPCs, you can sell 10. That can always be part of the solution. That is generally the way that I go through mine. I start with 20 cases of a set and the price gets to a certain point. It's like, okay, I'll sell 4 now. And then I'll go a few months. And then, feel like selling 4 again. I just got offered a reprint. Let me list 2 and see if they quick sell, see if I get lucky on that timing. So if I were in your shoes, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm saying what I would do. I might sell half. And part of it comes down to 2. Are there deals that you're seeing where you can get in? Like if you're paying full retail, the thing that I try to tell people to avoid, hopefully you're not paying sales tax. You're buying with intent to resell. If you're buying with a profit motive, you are doing business, you are buying with intent to resell, you should not be paying sales taxes. You should be doing this legitimately above board as a business, not paying sales tax. And if you have the opportunity to buy things at 80, 70%, and you having that money tied up in 151 doesn't allow you to buy these things over here that you can just instantly resell for margin, and if you have the time for that too. Some people need this to be fully passive. Some people have a 9 to 5 that's actually like a 9 to 9. They work 70 hours a week on whatever they're doing, and they just do Pokemon passively as it can be, which is not very passive. But so much further context that I need to reliably answer your question. Let me scroll down and see if you gave me further context, and then I'll answer. But like, this is the way my brain works. This is the way that I navigate my own thing. I have a bunch of 151 UPCs that I'm not falling over myself to sell, but like, I have a handful that are locked away on my pallet till 2030. So I can't sell them. I could if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna break my promise to YouTube to time capsule those until 2030. But like, I do have, I probably have 4 or 6 cases of Mew UPCs kicking around in inventory that, like, I might list those. At 200, they feel like they could be reprinted. They might not be too, but at some point, I don't know when, like the Celebrations UPC, I speculate, given historical context, given the Hidden Fates ETBs, given the Celebrations UPCs, given the Celebrations ETBs, most products will eventually hit a number that they stagnate and they plateau for months or maybe a year or more. In hindsight, it's always obvious, oh, well, I should have sold right there, right at the start of the plateau. You'll never know, you'll never get everything perfect, but like, I generally target selling things before the plateau. If things have a big boom, if things go up 50% in a week, I'm more likely to want to sell it than I am to want to buy it, right? I'm more likely to want to sell, lock in some of those gains, lower the cost basis on the half that I keep, maybe keep the half that I keep for free, and then re-roll it into something else. Re-roll it into something else that might be primed to move. But it all depends on what you have access to. What's your opportunity cost? What other opportunities do you have to buy? Some days I wake up and I get an email. Hey, I want to sell my collection. I want to sell my inventory to you. I'm cashing out my investments. I wake up to an email some mornings of 50K of Ultra Modern Sealed that I can buy at 80% or 75%. If I wake up and I see that, I'm more likely to go and list my 6 151 Mew cases that are kicking around. I'm more likely to list 6 or 8 cases of Twilight Masquerade that are kicking around. I'm more likely to list and sell some of these easy things to sell, high liquidity, high margin, high like return for the time that I had them. I'm more likely to sell those if opportunity elsewhere could use that capital, right? So that's the way that I navigate. It's never like, I need to sell it in 10 years. I need to sell it in 10 years on the dot. I can't sell it in 9 years. I have to sell it in 10. I need to sell it at 200. I can't sell it at 195. It has to be 200. I don't do that. I do all of it by feel. All of it's by feel. And if you follow along my journey, if you watch my videos, if you listen to my live streams, if you ask me, Dan, like, hey, you said you got, if you ask me in 4 months and you say, Dan, you said you got 38 cases of Surging Sparks for allocation at launch. How many do you have today? I most likely will not know the exact number. I will answer every question that I can as honestly and openly as I can. Like my thing is openness, honesty, transparency, all that stuff. I value that highly in content that I watch, and I try to put out what I enjoy myself. I like long form content. I like analytical spreadsheets. I like openness, transparency. I like all that stuff. So I try to do that stuff too. I try to make content that I would enjoy consuming. more niche than like standard YouTube, but like not too shabby. Nearly 120 concurrent viewers, right? I don't know if this is real or not. Hey investors, $100 Surging Sparks boxes on Safari right now. I'm not at all affiliated with Safari Zone, but I did mention them already earlier in the live stream because they're people that I'm aware of. They're people that do good business. Code Savage. I'm not gonna buy any, but I'm gonna see if it works. I don't know if that's legitimate or not, but Pokemon sealed product. I mean, Mega Evomart. I don't think he's gonna lead us astray. I don't even see Surging Spark booster boxes on the site. Oh, it was out of stock a minute later, so it's already gone. Thank you, Mega Evomart, for trying. Maybe some people in here got that. Let's see, where are we at? Wonkru Trickru says, thanks for the FOMO. Did I cause the FOMO or did chat cause the FOMO? And I think you'll do better on Surging Sparks. Multiple Pikachu chases equals moon. Hey, I mean, last time we had a Pikachu on an Elite Trainer box. Vivid Voltage. That box went to $200 pretty quickly after launch. So, I mean, it's happened 100% of the time in Pokemon's history. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying every time we've had a Pikachu on an ETB, the booster box was 200 not too long later. Don't mind that the people that paid 200 got destroyed. And one thing that I'm big on, and Alex is here in chat right now too. Him and I are very similar in a lot of things that we do. Funny, like a year ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, whenever it was, we were like pitted against each other some. We were kind of seen as like different people. But a lot of our takes and a lot of what we do in this space is really similar in a lot of ways. We generally will say, like, getting in early, getting in lower is generally better. It's an obvious, easy thing to say, but like, and I don't want to speak on behalf of Alex. I think it's quite rare though. It's quite rare for me that I've ever paid more than 120 for a box. I don't chase. I will miss certain things. I will sell some things too early, but rarely do I go back and chase. Evolving Skies is one that, and I believe Alex did the same thing too. We both missed. We went back and chased because we sold too early. We missed a lot of the upswing. But like when we went back, we talked about it. We talked about it. We disclosed it to our YouTube channels and this and that. And we timed it well. We've done well with when we re-entered it. And I didn't re-enter it deeply. I have like 2 sealed cases of Evolving Skies. But generally speaking, I take my allocation. I'll take whatever I can buy at 70 to 85%, depending on what it is, depending on timing, cash flow, all that stuff. And I won't chase though. Like I have 38 cases coming at 90 to 95 a box. I'm not going to go pre-order a bunch at 120. Even if I think it might go to 150, I'm just happy with what I have. I'm not going to chase at 120, 130, 140, 150, even though I know there's some percent chance in 6 months Surging Sparks is a $200 box. There's also some percent chance it's an $80 box. I put a higher percent chance. I put a pretty low percent chance that Surging Sparks is either 200 or 80. I think it will likely reside in between the two. Anyone who's been around, anyone like I'm not taking like a big I'm not sticking my neck out much on those estimations. If I had to just completely YOLO out a guess, let me write it down so I can revisit it. I'm going to guess what Surging Sparks will be in 6 months. So Surging Sparks, I'm going to write this on a notepad so I put it on my calendar so that I revisit, and I'll clip this and I'll do like if I remember, but I'll put it on my calendar in 6 months so I try to remember. Surging Spark, 6 months price prediction. And actually, one thing that just hit on my calendar, I put a price prediction for this. I guessed a year ago, that today, this would be 50 sealed and 300 in a PSA 10. I'm gonna recap that in the video where I talk about this. I need to remember to do that. I'm I'm gonna write that note too because it already fell off my calendar. 1 year estimate, 50 sealed, 300 PSA 10. So I clearly thought that it would be a harder grade than it actually was. It is a fairly hard grade. Well, 50%. That's not that hard. But a year ago, I guess this would be 50 sealed. It's 110 sealed. So I was less than half of what it is. But 300 for a PSA 10, pretty spot on. I'm guessing in 6 months, Surging Sparks will be, let's say 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Let's make it spicy. So in 6 weeks, Surging Sparks will be, this is one guy's guesses. One guy who has 38 cases guessing. In 6 weeks, I'm going to say 140. In 6 weeks, I think Surging Spark will be 140. And in 6 months, I'm gonna get spicy here. I think Pokemon is doing that 151 reprint thing in the spring. Some of that's probably going to one thing I forgot to put in my video on Monday. I forgot to talk too much about the 151 reprint. The Crown Zenith reprint that went to Costco, the 151 reprint. It sounds like it's going to go in a product that goes to Costco and not to distributors. I think Pokemon is kind of like surpassing the bottleneck that investors make. So investors will tie up product until the price gets to their price points and then they'll sell it later. So to get around that artificial bottleneck that investors cause, myself included, Alex included, we cause a bottleneck of sorts between the production and the end consumer. That's where some people get mad. It is what it is. Pokemon surpasses that and captures more money going through Costco, going through Target, going through Walmart, going through all these different companies who by policy will always sell everything at MSRP. So interesting thing. I think Pokemon is really consciously trying to circumvent the investor, circumvent the distributors who will mark up product. They are trying to circumvent the game stores who will mark up product. They are trying to circumvent the online retailer / investors like me who will buy it, sit on it, mark up the product, and not let it out to the final end consumer. I forgot to cover all this in my video on Monday. But anyways, I'm covering it now. So I think Surging Sparks will be one of those sets that they kind of make an example of. By no means. Like, this is one guy's estimate. One guy who has 38 cases. I think it'll be 160. Let me say 170. I think it'll be 170 in 6 months. I don't think it'll quite 200 like Vivid Voltage did, but I think there's a chance it could. There's obviously a chance it could. There's some percentage chance, but I'm gonna say 140. It'll be 6 weeks, 140, and in 6 months it'll be 170. I do think though, if I had to guess one way or the other, when we see 170, if I still have 30 plus cases, I will sell probably half of them. I will probably sell half of them. And I think this is where the value comes. This is where the value comes. A guy who's been through Evolutions, Vivid Voltage, a guy who's been through Evolving Skies, a guy who's been through a bunch of this, actually having product, actually buying, selling, investing, whatever you want to call it. At 170, I would probably sell half of what I had under the presumption that a reprint would come. But we might get team-upped. Twilight Masquerade might get team-upped. It might not get that last reprint. They both might get Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies got a second reprint, a third reprint, a fourth reprint. I don't remember how many, a lot of them. And it still went nuts. It still went bonkers. 151 might get Evolving Skies. 151 might also get Hidden Faced. So if you haven't been around long enough, maybe you don't know what I mean by these different things. 151 might get Evolutions. 151 might get Evolution. People might get sick of it. It might be around, it might be reprinted for 2, 3, 4 years maybe, reprint, restock, whatever. And then it has a few years where it's just like stagnant, flat, plateaued, whatever. And then the 30th anniversary, the 35th anniversary, some crazy thing comes along and makes it go nuts. Like, nobody actually knows any of this. We're all just speculating. But some people are only talking. I'm gonna like myself included. I'm gonna include myself in this. I'm gonna pump myself up some here. But like the channels that I enjoy the most are the ones who are actually doing it and actually showing it. The more they disclose, the better. Nick, Old School Pokemon, my PokeFlips co-host, he used to give you all of it. He used to give you his profit loss at the end of the year, his net profit. I've never gone that far. The more transparency, the better. I'm one of the most, I think. Nick used to be more. Java used to be more. Java Akuma. Shout out to Java Akuma. He's not really doing like the modern sealed investing, but I'm just going to shout out some super transparent channels that I really enjoy. Java Akuma, he does like a monthly recap, top 5 flips. I think he does just top 5 flips now. I don't think he does the full monthly recap as much anymore because it's way more work than just doing the top 5, and it's a way more editing lift, and it's not as popular. So like it's reasonable to do less work to get more popular content, right? So Brian Pokieni, I mean, it's funny to like Java and old school doesn't even make content anymore. Java's a similar size channel, slightly smaller, and then shouting out channels bigger than mine is kind of an interesting, funny thing. Most people have probably heard of Rudy from Alpha Investments. He is what I enjoy. Like, he shows his product, he has it. He's not just talking. There's so much talking out there. He is walking the walk. He talks very little relative to what he actually has. Brian at PokeNE, I love Brian's content. He is actually walking the walk. He is retailing a lot of product, way more sealed product than me. Eli, Pokemart, they are retailing tons of product, wholesaling, retailing, whatever. They're distributing, wholesaling a bunch of product, but they're also setting some back too. They don't tell you all the exact numbers. I don't think they get quite as in depth as I do, but like hearing from them, hearing from people who actually have the product, hearing from people who are actually invested in it, not just farming. And Alex, Nostalgianomics, I wish he'd get a little more disclaimer, a little bit more like in depth on what he actually has quantities. Sometimes he'll throw it out. I think he mentioned while I was mowing the lawn today, I think he mentioned 35-ish cases he has too, coming from non-distribution. He has Eli Pokemart, he has the wholesale hookup through that, but he doesn't have his own direct distribution. So I don't know, maybe Alex in the comments will, maybe he's still here, maybe he'll let us know what his average cost basis is on his approximately 35-ish cases, I think he said. I'm in at 93-ish, but I have a decade-long relationship with my distributor, one distributor, other distributor, 6 or 8 year relationship. Multi 6 figures, if not 7 figures of spend with them over the years. So that's something that I established. That's something that doesn't pay off most of the time. Most of the times you can go on Safari Zone, Hills Wholesale Gaming, and get it for cheaper, or same price. But yeah, those are the channels that I enjoy. That's the content I try to make. That's the content I try to consume too. I think it's most relevant to get information from people that aren't just showing charts on items they don't own. They aren't just farming affiliate link clicks for items that they don't buy themselves. They aren't just farming ad revenue, saying let's all get rich together when they're not even buying things themselves. And I don't know. I'm not even envisioning a certain specific PokeTuber when I say all that, because I genuinely don't know. I go into a new incognito window. I'm not logged into YouTube. The ads suck, not having YouTube Premium when I go into that. But I will consume some like mainstream PokeTube channels, and the amount of people saying very scary, very crazy stuff, the kind of stuff that you heard some in 2021 with Vivid Voltage, the kind of stuff you heard some, it's happening again. And people, Alex had a recent video talking about people getting credit cards and this and that. Crazy stuff is going on, scary stuff is going on. Be careful who you're listening to. And even when you're listening to me, Rudy, Brian of PokeNE, when you're listening to Alex, when you're listening to Eli from Pokemart, when you're listening to people like that, don't try to emulate one-to-one. Your opportunity cost is not the same as mine. I have no debt. I'm using credit cards to get the rewards, and then I'm instant paying them off. I have all my tax buckets full. Don't make me pull out the tax buckets. 130 people watching, and I'm pulling out the tax buckets. Financial order of operations, filling my 401k, filling my IRAs, all that stuff. Don't watch any PokeTuber, myself included, Brian, all those guys included. Don't try to emulate one-to-one what they're doing, because your personal finances are very different from theirs. Personal finance has personal in the name. It is everyone's opportunity cost is very different. And you need to be like, opportunity cost is the number one consideration when investing. And so many people in Pokemon skip that. So many people in Pokemon did not go to Investing 101, Econ 101. They did not pay attention to the fact that opportunity cost is everything. And some people are out here trying to emulate, replicate what others are doing with their credit cards, paying sales tax. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So be careful out there. I'm 40 minutes behind chat. I better start catching up. Which Kanto gym leader do you think grills the best? I'm gonna say Blaine because of all the fire Pokemon. Planning on selling some CGC Modern 10s on eBay for the first time. How much lower do you price a CGC graded card versus a PSA card? Entirely dependent on what the market is doing. Look at the comps. Look at what people are paying. If you're the first one listing it, price it at what? Like take a guess. It's all arbitrary. They're just data points. You set the price. The seller and the buyer set the price. It's arbitrary. Take a shot. People looking for like CGC 10s are 60% of PSA 10s. CGC Pristines are 120% of PSA 10s. Black labels are 3 times PSA 10s. That doesn't exist. There are certain black labels that are 3 times a PSA 10. There are certain black labels that are 30 times a PSA 10. It is so wide varying. There's no hard, fast rule. It's all dependent on so many factors. Let's see. Radar's right. Everyone is seeing the uptick. My video yesterday hit 20K views, which is not normal. Congrats on the 20K views. That's wild. Typically trying to grab at least a PSA 9 or PSA 10 for cards like the Gold Star Latias. Is it worth to pick one up at a PSA 7? Is it still a good investment given how rare the card is? How good of an investment it is more pertaining to your opportunity cost than anything else. So assuming you have everything else set, I would go to so many things in Pokemon. If my sole intent was to profit in Pokemon through investment gains, appreciation, I would not, like, there are so many things I would go to before a PSA 7 Gold Star Latias. I think a PSA Gold 7 Gold Star Latias would beat many other things in Pokemon, but like that's just not where I'd go. I'd rather go to a PSA 9 or PSA 10 Gold Star that I could afford. I'd rather go to a WotC PSA 9 or PSA 10 first edition that I could afford. I don't like getting down in the 7s because a lot of cards out there in binders exist of 7s. Obviously, EX Deoxys, there's going to be a lot less than like early WotC or current modern, but like still, PSA 7 is a low enough grade that a lot more of those could be out there, still coming. Let's see. Is it worth buying CGC Pristine 10? What are your goals? What are you after? It's worth it if it's worth it to you. Like, you're talking about solely making money. I'm not investing in CGC Pristine 10s. I'm not investing in black labels. I'm not investing in PSA 10s. I'm not investing in graded cards of any kind. I have a very select few handful of cards in my personal collection. One of them being the PSA 9 Shining Gyarados first edition. The best art in the hobby. Let me grab it. I gotta show this off. The best art in the hobby. Hands down. No competition. Moonbreon, eat your heart out. It only covers half the card, but this is a better artwork. Half the space, and it's 10 times the art. It's 10 times the art Moonbreon ever wished it could be. If we ever get a remake of this, that's full art, like oof. It's even got a fisherman. I don't know if he has a fishing pole, but he has a boat. It's got a guy in a rowboat who I assume is a fisherman. But to me, it was worth buying this when it was $1,400. I did not buy this as an investment. Actually, this is leftover from my former collection, so I was worth not selling at $1,400. It's now worth like $2,500, and I don't want to sell it. I'm collector boying this one. If it goes to $5,000 in the next 3 months, I'll probably have to sell it at that point because that just feels too crazy to me. But I value this card more than the market does, with it being $2,500 when it was $1,400 like 8 months ago. So if you value something more than the market, buy it. If the market values something more than you do, sell it. That's as simple as it is. I do not speculate in graded cards. I buy cards raw, I grade them, I sell them. I sell people's graded cards on consignment. I do not speculate long term in graded cards at all, though. Basics going live tomorrow. That's awesome. Excited to hear that. Does this bull market in some ways feel more real / sustainable than the COVID boom? It just feels more legit. Collectors, participants versus COVID hype, scalpers, and for the quick buck types. So I forget where I said this. I think I said this on Pokeflips on Friday. But this feels way more legitimate than the one during the pandemic. The one during the pandemic was like everything, and it was like 10 to 20x. I don't think $700 PSA 10 Charizard from Charizard from 151 feel sustainable. I don't think $500 Bubble Mew feels sustainable. Like there are absolutely certain things that don't feel sustainable, but overall I think it feels more sustainable. In the boom, we only printed 6 billion cards. We're printing I'm saying as if I'm Pokemon. Pokemon is printing 12 billion cards a year right now. PSA is churning out 1 million cards a year. During the pandemic, PSA, CGC, BGS, they closed. They closed for a month or two entirely. So this is more real in that like we are at peak print runs, peak grading, in spite of all that, in spite of peak 151 being printed, in spite of peak Bubble Mews being printed, 30,000 pop on a gray felt hat Pikachu. In spite of all that, that one's not gradable anymore because it just fell to the floor. But in spite of all that, we're having these booms. We're having these price appreciations. So I think it's more real because the environment that it's taking place in is less artificial. It's less bottlenecked by like the pandemic supply chain things. It's real and that we're fully open and operational. And the market is still not getting enough. Let's see. You look more lean. Have you been working out? I started the year at 250 to 255. I'm now 230. End goal, smart goal for the year was 225. So I have 5 pounds to go. Pokey Steve packing up a PSA sub. Good luck on the grades. Ethan says Twice Baked Jake just posted a video saying 151 is getting a reprint soon, English and Japanese. A new UPC apparently. Should I sell sealed now to buy MSRP when the reprint hits shelves? Potentially. If you have the 151 Mew UPC, more packs coming onto the market should dampen most things that contain packs a little bit at least. But like, I don't know that we'll get the Mew 151 UPC again. How available will this new one be? Like, once it happens, it will be obvious. It might come through distribution, and it might go to Costco and Walmart. It might go everywhere. It might go on PokemonCenter.com. We don't know how much is coming. We don't know where it's coming. Once it happens and is over, it will be obvious. And people will be talking about, see, I guessed this would happen, and this happened, so I knew it, and here's proof. But people are just guessing. Like, I don't know. As I said, all I can tell you is what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue selling 151 loose packs through live streams. I'm going to have Ponga and PK rip 151 for people that want to rip it. PK has been pulling 151 Charizards like a madman. I think he's pulled 6 of them by now. But I'm not just insta selling them all overnight. I'm not panicked about it. I think I have 6 cases of Mew 151 UPCs locked away on the pallet until 2030. I think I have maybe 8 to 12 cases of Mew 151 UPCs on hand. Maybe next week at 200 a pop, 800 a case, maybe I'll sell like 6 of them. Maybe I'll sell like half of them. That's usually what I do. Like, you don't have to do all or none. If you only have one though, I guess you have to do all or none. But I usually just like do half, or I do a quarter, or I do 3/4 of what I have. I do that a lot. It will probably do well. The Surging Spark PCETB. I bought my tree topper. I'm all set. I bought my tree topper. D Suni. Absolutely, on certain promos, if you look at the data, if you look at cards that are graded en masse, I've done videos on it on my YouTube channel. I've done videos on it for the Patreon. If you look at cards, there are certain cards that the PSA 10 rate is 90%. If you add the CGC 9.5 Mint Plus the Gem Mint 10, plus the Pristine 10, it might only be 70% or 60%. There are certain cards, ultra modern promo cards, 30,000 of them graded at PSA, 10,000 of them graded at CGC, like big numbers. You know they're probably apples to apples. You know that people are just blind submitting the Nagabas. People are blind submitting the Nagabas. They're not doing much pre-grading because like they're just all 10s. They're all 10s. And cards like that at CGC, if you add the Gem Mint 10 rate, plus the Pristine rate, plus the Mint 9.5 rate, it's lower than the PSA 10 rate. CGC, I'm not saying universally, I'm not saying on every card. Certain cards though, the Gem Mint 10, most cards, the Gem Mint 10 is harder to get than the PSA 10. Certain vintage cards, absolutely, you can crack out some PSA 9s and get PSA 10s. You can crack out some PSA 9s and get CGC 10s. grading, some amount of randomness, some amount of inaccuracy, some amount of issues with all that, as always. Is there any way to sell without having people want 80% but full market? Absolutely. So you can sell to somebody for 80% and you can sell it instantly, and you can sell it to a streamer, to a person like me, you get 80%, or you can do all the work of individually selling them yourself on your own eBay, or you can consign something like that, and you can pay a 12 to 15% fee, and you can pay a little bit of shipping, and you can net the same 80% anyways. Some people are so like, getting the full 100% can happen, but like where the most buyers are where the most fees are. eBay charges a 12% fee for a reason, because it's worth it. Like if you want to go to a Facebook group, if you want to sell on Reddit, oh great, there's no fees, but you're going to sell for less. You're going to sell for less when you're not where most of the buyers are. That's just the way that it works. People want to sell for 100%, but they want to sell for zero fees. 100% only happens where there are fees, generally speaking. Very general. You might have a buddy down the road. You might play basketball on Tuesdays with a buddy that, oh, well, I don't want my 151 UPC anymore. It's 200 a piece. Oh, well, if I bought that on TCG Player, I'd have to pay sales tax. I'd have to pay shipping, blah, blah, blah. Let me pay you 200 bucks cash for that. That can and does happen. That's the exception. That's very hard to have happen. Time matters too. Time is a function. Like, time matters. It's limited. So how much time do you want to spend? Do you want to just send it off in the box, consign with me on Fanatics? Do you want to, and I can't do sealed anymore on Fanatics, but do you want to just send your slabs, sell them on Fanatics, get 95% paid out via auction? All the considerations to think of. Jacob Henderson, sorry coming in late. Are we thinking positive or negatively about surging? I've pre-ordered 10 cases, so I hope good. I feel really good about 38 cases at 92 bucks a piece. That's what I have coming. If I didn't have access to wholesale distribution, I probably would have pre-ordered it at 100 through Safari Zone like a few months ago. Or I would have bought it on Hills Wholesale Gaming if I wanted it a month ago. I would not be buying it now at 120, 130 if people are pre-ordering for that, generally speaking. And yes, if my opinion can sway you, like, really consider what you're doing, for sure. If you change your mind based on what Alex says, what I say, what anyone else in here says, like, just be careful. Be careful. And opportunity cost, is it on a credit card? Yada, yada, yada. All that stuff. All that stuff. As always. Or 30 YouTube says it's just some booster bundle cases in the little boxes from Walmart. I forget what your question was. I apologize. I do remember. Okay, I'm a small investor, a year in with a net of 15K. I have 2K and 151. So if you have, let's see, you said you had booster bundle cases in the little boxes from Walmart. It all depends on what how much is it going to cost you to sell it? Are you going to get eaten alive by 20% fees to sell everything? 25% fees? Is it worth it ultimately at the end of that? Can you get access to surging at 100 a box? Like, if you could have hit that Safari Zone drop from 20 minutes ago, whenever that was, maybe it would have been worth it to sell $1,000 and sell 1,200 bucks and get 2 cases of surging at 100 a box. Because more broadly, the market is already pre-ordering at 110, 120. So like it all depends on your opportunity cost. It all depends on your availability to get those things sold and how much fees you're going to eat to sell those. Let's see. Oh, yeah. If you got your surging at 550 per case, obviously you're sitting pretty right now. 10 cases at 550 per case. Like, one thing that I'm going to show in my video next Monday, or not this Monday, but the following Monday. One thing I'm going to show in my 6-month pallet update. A lot of that stuff is up 20%. But to sell it, I need to pay 12% fees to eBay. I need to pay shipping. A lot of times, a 20% gain gets you to break even. Then all the gains from there. After your 20% gain, you broke even. And then every percent gain from there, you're actually achieving. You're actually gaining. Roughly. Gonna be 140 at release. I could absolutely see that. There's a certain percentage chance it's going to be. Yeah, I can't believe there's 130 people in here. That's crazy. Um. Oh, I missed. Oh, here we go. Nice to see you, Rob. Yeah, did Rob bring the boom back, or did Rob come back because of the boom, or did both happen to an extent? I crack a beer and Rob appears. Appropriate. And then can you make a video with many content creators? I love the JLove video. It brought me to find many of the newer tubers. The hobby is absolutely booming. Hot take, Erica's invitation is peak hobby. 151 might get Shiny Sky, Hidden Lucian. Rip me some packs, Dan. I'm not gonna rip any packs. I actually don't have. You want to rip some Van Gogh packs? We'll see what you get. I will promise you, I will grab a box that I did not pre-grade from. I paid nearly 125 a piece, so I will sell you one of these blind. PayPal friends and family. I will grab a random one for like 150. Probably not worth it for you very much, but like it's there if you want it. If you want a friends and family me or Venmo me, I will sell you a random, not pre-graded gray felt hat for 150. Significantly higher than 110 that they go for on eBay, but also mine aren't pre-graded. Let's see. How's it going, Victory Lane Exotics? Nice to see you in here. Definitely a lot of new names. I normally do not have anywhere near this viewership, so there are inherently a lot of new viewers. Buff Sushi says might be a hot take, but I feel that sets like Terrestrial Festival and Rocket will do better than 151. No one knows. Like I would say in a lot of ways. Let me pull up a set release list so I can find one right around a certain time. Like Hidden Fates. I really liked Hidden Fates. I still think it's a solid set, but it's plateaued for a long time because it got printed very heavily. Like people say only demand matters. Supply matters a ton because sometimes demand goes up just because supply is low. Like if price goes down, oftentimes demand will go. Well, sometimes Pokemon can be weird in that more people want it when the price goes up. Price goes up, so price goes up. But yeah, like Hidden Fates came out. Where are we? Hidden Fates came out August of 2019. Like that set, if you compare it to like certain sets around it, there's a lot of banger sets around it. Pretty wild some of the sets around it. But if you compare it to like different random sets around it, there are almost certainly ones that did higher percentage wise, even though they didn't sell as much because they didn't get printed as much. Like there are some go back way early in you have some weird things like supply matters. The Guardians Rising ETB from Sun and Moon shows you that supply matters because like Sun and Moon base ETBs are significantly cheaper than Guardians Rising. I guess you could say Guardians Rising is a much better set, but on top of that, like it was printed way less. It didn't get that final reprint. The Sun and Moon base ETBs got a reprint like way down the line. I forget when it was exactly, but those were like way late, historic, like relative to what ETBs usually get for reprints. Those ones got reprinted really late. How's it going, Pokemon Dentist? How's it going, Go Orange? BB, my arch nemesis. We got some rivalries in chat. Is it worth it to increase income and reduce expenses? If possible. Those are the two levers that you have, right? So we got Jackson in here feeding me some softball personal finance questions. So the two levers that you control when it comes to personal finance, when we're talking about your tax buckets, you can improve your finances by doing one or both of these: decreasing your spending, decreasing your outcome, increasing your income. Ideally, if you're in a position where you can do both. For some people spend so little, they're already on like a shoestring budget. Some people spend so little, it's easier. They spend so little and or they make so little that the easier lever to pull, the lowest hanging fruit, as I like to say, the lowest hanging fruit is increasing their income. Some people already have a 9 to 5 where they make 250,000 a year, and maybe they can double dip. They can do a little Pokemon on the side, on the clock, watch some Pokemon YouTube live streams on the clock, tune in the Pokeflips every other Friday at 1:15 p.m. Eastern, and they're making 250,000 a year, and they have a hard time increasing their income because it's like, oh well, I make 125 bucks an hour at my day job. I can't make that anywhere else. So for them, it might be easier to decrease their expenses if they want to improve their personal finance. But again, the answer is always it depends. It's not flashy. It doesn't do well in a thumbnail. It doesn't do well on a title. But like the answer is always it depends. You always need context. It's always nuance. Always. But people don't like it that much. Expedition Mew is a close second. I like Expedition Mew. Half VR. BB's falling asleep. BB's yawning. BB's yawning about my where'd I put it? Oh, I put it back up there. BB's yawning about my Shining Gyarados. Appreciate you, Daddy Donkey Kong. Looking good, Dan. Keep up the hard work and diet. Pokemon Dentist. Increase expenses and reduce income. They'll never know what hit them. Oh, man. That's funny. Absolutely. So PokeMT says, do you make any changes to your raw card buying when the market is moving so much? For example, would you buy raw 151 Zards to grade right now? I would lower my percentages. So during normal times, I buy from 70 to 85%. When things are really bubbly, when things are really looking at risk of recoiling, I will lower my percentage. I might pay, if someone has 20 copies of a 151 Zard, I might feel frisky. I might pay 60%. I might pay. The thing is, like 60% today is also like higher than what 80% was a month ago, probably. And it's at way more risk of going down. So like, absolutely, I changed my percentages. I actually, when the Crown Zenith collection thing came out at Sam's Club and BJ's, Costco, wherever, I had 10 or 20,000 packs worth of interest email me. When something like that happens and tons of people get tons of product, I lower my percentage. Like biggest thing is, as any good business would, I try to pay a good percentage so that I actually get something. It's a competitive market out there. But like if I had a big enough following that I could pay universally 70%, I would. I'm not this is going to be a funny thing. Some people are going to like this comment. I'm not paying 85% generally out of the kindness of my heart. A lot of times I'm paying a higher percentage than more bigger businesses because I have to. It's out of necessity. If I could pay 70%, I would. I can't get enough a lot of times at 70%, so I have to go 75, 80, 85% at times to get the inventory quantity that I need, to get the stuff that I need through. So I pay a higher percentage than certain people by necessity. If you have a bigger reach, bigger following, you can generally work down the percentage that you pay and still be perfectly fine, right? So, and a lot of times you can sell at a premium too. A lot of the big pack breakers, a lot of they earn a premium on their stuff because they have so many more active concurrent viewers and all that stuff. So absolutely, I might buy them now, but I would pay less. But like during the boom, during 2020, 2021, I didn't buy nothing. There are things today, and I'm not buying like drastically, but there are things today that have not boomed 50% in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. There are things to buy today. The Pokemon market is so massive, so broad, so diverse. There is always like my time in the hobby, the size of my business today, I could spend, like I do spend $100,000 a month, approximately. Like I spend 50 to 100 grand a month every month. I could spend 25, 30 grand a day. I could spend $10 million a year if I don't have it, so I'm not doing that. But like if I just was told you have to spend money, you have to buy something to make margin, and if I had the premium outlets, if I was cracking hits on whatnot, like they are spending millions a year because they have the outlet for it. So if I had the capital, if I had the outlets for it, there's that much opportunity out there right now. There's the opportunity out there that like I could find 8 figures worth of spending in a year. I don't have it. I don't have the time to move out that much stuff. So like I'm not doing that, but like I'm doing 7 figures a year. There's always something to buy. The bull market feels like it can be sustained for a while. EV set owners, rocket set. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. I would say a golden era. PokeDust says, would you sell off your 151 SIRs now since prices are high and take profits or hold? I have multiple of all the SIRs and none PSA 10 condition, all pulled from packs. Ideally, I would grade the 10s. I would sell the raw ones near mint on TCG Player otherwise. But yeah, like where are you going to put the money? What's your opportunity cost? Do you have credit card debt to pay off? That's a great thing to put money towards. Do you have better opportunities? Do you want to buy Surging Sparks at 100? Do you want to save for the rocket set? Do you want to save for like future sets? It's a reasonable thing to sell. I'm selling a lot of, once these things come back from PSA, if my Bubble Mews are 500 when they come back, when 50 of them come back, if they're 500 a piece, I am fire selling those things as quickly as I can. By the time I get them back, I'll probably get upcharged to 500. I'll probably sell them for like 250, 300. They'll probably be down a bunch again. But absolutely, look, I don't have any to sell right now because I sold out of everything. Once I get more back, I am selling them. So yeah, don't listen to what I like. Just look at what I'm doing. I'm selling. Always selling. Let's see. Jex Collect says, I hope he doesn't read mine out loud. I think I'll delete it. Did you delete it? You must have deleted it because I don't think I see it. eBay is 13. Depending on if the buyer's paying sales tax, you pay final value fees on that. If you have a store, it's 12%. Top rated seller, like it varies. 10 to 15% depending. If you're selling several million a year, maybe you have contracted rates 4, 6, 8, 10%. Who knows? That is one consideration I hadn't made. I forget what the what's the Surging Sparks? If there's an absolute banger promo in the Pokemon Center ETBs, that's obviously a big part of it. I feel like I've seen it, but I can't remember it. Let me take a look at what the ETB promo is. Oh, it's tiny. You get, oh yeah, you get 2 of them because you get the stamped and you get the unstamped. It's a busy looking Magneton promo. Giratina-esque. I think it was made by the same person as the Giratina, but you guys are gonna talk me into buying some. You guys are gonna talk me into FOMOing. I just hate how you can only buy 4. If they would let me buy 40, I would be way more likely. I don't want 4. I want 40 or 400. I don't want 4. And I don't want to play the game. Like, say I buy 4 today. When can I buy again next? I don't want to deal with orders getting canceled, and I just hate that stuff. Buying cards, grading them, then selling them is good profit if you do them properly. Horatio Kane, CSI Miami. Oh yeah, I didn't even notice his name was Horatio Kane, but I used to watch CSI Miami. Law and Order, SVU, all those crime shows. I liked a lot of those. If you do them properly, you can get wrecked. You can buy cards. If you buy cards now, if you buy 151 Zards at 200 a piece, and you grade them an 8, and the PSA 10 goes from 700 down to 400, and the raw goes from 200 to 100, you will get destroyed. You can get destroyed grading cards. If you do it right, if you do it well, you can make a lot of money though. So high risk, high reward, I guess. Yeah, I'm still waiting on Amazing Rares to take off too. Only 2 in a box and there's 8 billion people in the world. Is it smart to get Moonbreon now? What are your goals? What are you after? If you're just completing a set, if you have the money, like it's reasonable. Is it smart to buy a Moonbreon now as part of your retirement, counting on it? Like one big thing that needs to be said too is like context. So I am buying 38 cases. I'm buying 38 cases of Surging Sparks. 228 boxes at about 92.50 a piece. I'm spending 21 grand on Surging Sparks. If that box doubles in 5 years, that's a great return. I made 21 grand in 5 years. What does that do? Over the next 5 years, I would sell some amount of that. I would make some amount of gains. I would sell it. I'd roll it into the next product, I have like kind of a machine going, a business going, where one thing that I cast aside every year I'm filling my tax buckets. Every year I'm maxing my 401ks, IRAs. That's like my end game. My end game is twofold. My end game is to have maxed 401ks and IRAs and set back, have, once all those are done, once the gains from my boxes, once the gains from my grading, once all that stuff pays for everything in the buckets, the tax advantage buckets, then I keep some of that too. I don't need the cash. Like we live a pretty frugal lifestyle. We live pretty cheaply. My wife's income almost entirely covers what our household spending is. So once everything is paid for, once all my investing is done, I just roll into the business. I keep it in the business. I roll it into more profit. So like I don't do it with cards though. I like so many things about modern sealed, all the live streaming, all the ripping, all the populations of sealed going down once the reprints are done. Population of cards only go up, right? I like the fundamentals of that. I like the fundamental nature of sealed product in that it gets ripped, the amount goes down, the scarcity goes up. Singles, like it could do well. It could do well, but it's like opportunity cost. All the same things I constantly talk about. What are your goals? What's your opportunity cost? Jeff says, I have a 0% card, 12 cases pre-ordered. I'm that guy. So do you have to sell? Like, Jeff, feel free to share, feel free to not share. If you, because like what could happen? So in 6 months, I made an estimate that the prices will be 170. Hopefully you would sell, pay off within the 0% interest window, and say you have as many as me. So you have 12 cases pre-ordered. Say you have 12 cases pre-ordered at 100 apiece. So you're in for 7,200. If the boxes go to 170, your 7,200 will turn to 12,240, and then multiply that by 0.85 because you're gonna take a 15% haircut selling it. So your 7,200 will profit you over 3 grand. Some amount of work, some amount of risk, like you might have an issue with a buyer or whatever, but 3 grand in a few months, that's solid. But your downside is there though too. It could happen. I'm not projecting. I think 170 in 6 months is more likely than 80 in 6 months. But 80 could happen. There's historical precedent for $80 boxes 6 months after release. A lot of it, actually. A lot of it. 80, 90, 100, whatever it would be a loss for you. So say the box is 90 bucks in 6 months. What does that look like? So we know the upside. One upside scenario is you make 3 grand. What's a downside scenario? Are you going to miss rent? Are you going to have to pay interest and penalties and this and that? Are you going to be overdrafting your bank account? Like, we always need to take account of what the downside would look like. Like for some people, for me, where I'm at, no debt, like everything set, a lot of runway, multiple years worth of our household spending is set aside, like in safe stuff. We would be fine if Pokemon went to 0, let alone 80 a box. Some people though, they are putting themselves in situations where their downside, if Pokemon goes into a multi-year lull, if Pokemon revisits like the early 2003, 2006 era, EX era sets, if we go into a dark period of 2 to 5 years, some people won't be able to pay their rent. Some people won't be able to put food on the table. Like just be aware of what your opportunity cost is, what your risk is, what your downside is. Look at what that scenario actually looks like in real life. And then like attribute a certain percentage to that outcome. Be realistic, set smart goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-based, and yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. And I think too many people skip a lot of those steps. Are we going to reach a junk wax era? There's risk of that. That is the downside. The downside is that I don't think we're gonna do it. I don't think I don't think booster boxes will be $40 again. In 2004, booster boxes were $40. Jungle First Edition, Fossil First Edition, Base Set Unlimited, $40. Multi years. It was dark. It was super dark. Pokemon almost died. I'm bullish on Pokemon as a whole. I think they'll navigate the boom better this time. I don't think we'll have an era like that. I don't think it'll be as bad as sports got for a long time, as bad as sports is for a lot of that 80s, 90s product. But it could happen. There's a percentage you have to allocate to that outcome. What will happen to your livelihood? What will happen to your finances, your family's finances, if that happens? It could happen. It would suck. It would be a big blow. But like all my other stuff is there. My house is paid off. My cars are paid off. No student loans. Maxed out 401ks. Maxed out IRAs. Like Pokemon could go to zero and the world would not change as we know it. Like Pokemon could cease to exist in 10 years and the world as we know it would largely be the same. The S&P 500 could not go to zero. The world would fundamentally change. The world as we know it would not be the same. It would be... I've had that rant many times in previous videos, but I think people understand. If you understand what I'm saying, you're with me. If you don't understand what I'm saying there, you'll never understand. It's not worth going further anyways. Hey, Terrace TCG just opened an English Surging Sparks booster box and it had 14 hits. Thoughts? That's awesome. Approximately 12 is like historically 1 per 3. 1 per 3 1 per 3 packs, so that's great. Approximately what we see historically, right? Pokestone says, hey Dan, any truth to the rumor certain boxes like 151 have more hits when they first arrive in market versus later? I don't attribute anything to that. The thing that, the way people come to those conclusions is they go on Reddit. There's a guy who goes to Walmart and he buys first release and he gets no hits out of his tin. And then he goes 6 months later and he gets a hit, confirmation bias, boom, done, it's confirmed. The sample sizes people take these big leaps with are just phenomenal to me. It blows my mind. It's like, oh, well, 3-pack blisters, hit rates versus build and battle kits versus ETBs versus booster boxes. I don't buy into any of that. I don't buy into any of it. Like, what value does it bring? What value does it bring? Are you ripping a ton of the product? Do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't buy into any of it. I'm not ripping the product though anyways. I don't care. I don't believe in any of it. It doesn't affect me. Sorry, Pokestone. Would you buy Surging Sparks early for a higher price? I bought 38 cases through my distributors. That's what was allocated to me. I'm not buying any additional. Thoughts on eBay doing $0 on fees? They are testing it in the UK. They're testing it in the UK as a precursor to doing buyer's premium. It is not, there's no such thing as a free lunch. They're a business. They're here to make money. They're doing it as a short-term thing to gain customers, to get publicity, which they're getting a lot of publicity, and then they're going to ultimately make money. They're going to do buyer's premium. So, you can buy the next immediately. So I can buy up to 40, just do separate orders. Ugh, you guys are going to talk me into buying 40 of them. FOMO. You guys want me to buy 40 so that it sells out and then you guys make money, right? Ugh. Maybe tomorrow I'll buy. No, tomorrow's a busy day and I only have a half day, so I can't buy them tomorrow. You guys want me to buy live on stream 40 Pokemon Center ETBs from Surging Sparks? I really don't want to do that. I'm probably not going to. I'm probably going to wrap up relatively soon. I'm almost caught up with chat. I will answer every question left in chat. So if you have a question, leave it. I'm getting close to catching up. I definitely want to be done by 1, but I'm confident I can catch up to chat by 1, if not significantly earlier. I just got some after I saw the booster box cases cuts. I never pre-order. I don't buy as a consumer pre-orders. I don't sell as a retailer pre-orders either. I don't like so many things about pre-orders. I don't like it at all. I don't like how sometimes stores will they'll sell more than they know they're getting, which is frustrating because then they have to cut people, or they'll do the scummy thing and they're getting 200 boxes and they pre-order 200 boxes, but they pre-order them at 100. Now the price is 130. So they just screw over all those people and they don't sell them. Or the other way, people pre-order at 100 and the price goes down to 75. It's like I only sell stuff that I have in hand. I don't like pre-ordering. I don't do it as a buyer. I don't do it as a seller. Risen Sparrow says grading cards is going to be so easy now with GameStop. Yeah, I mean, they are taking away hurdles. They're lowering the barrier to entry for people into the grading card space. Absolutely. I don't know if more plastic will necessarily come. I think it'll just be like PSA's turnaround time is speeding up from what I see. A lot of my September specials are popping right now. A lot of my early mid-September specials are popping. So I think PSA will be able to keep their prices higher because they'll have a new influx of submissions. So not necessarily more plastic coming, but PSA being able to sustain 1 million cards a month at the $15 card prices. It's a Magneton, not sure it'll be that popular. The PC stamp will be worth something, but I don't have a lot of faith in it. Hope that helps counter your FOMO. LMAO. Yeah, like if I were making a play with the promos, I'd want to have like of a normal set, I get like 120 to 200 ETBs depending. I would want to have a couple. If I was gonna rip them, I would want to have a couple hundred to have a substantial amount to be able to open, grade some of the promos. I think a lot of the PC promos are like super hard to grade. But I'm leaning against buying them, but we'll see. We'll see. Checks, go to bed and get some rest. Need you in stream Thursday. There's a lot of stuff going around. Soccer practice on Sunday. Tons of parents were hacking. Or no, yesterday. Soccer practice yesterday. My wife says a ton of students are absent. Both my kids have a little bit of a cough. Wife is a little bit like iffy, but no fever or anything. A lot of things are going around. We're that time of year. A lot of things are going around. Okay. Jeff says, also not my first rodeo. It could burn and I'd be fine. When I hear people, when I see, as I said earlier, when I see like the Rudies, the Pokeyenis, myself, I'm not worried for us because I know, and some people take that in a negative way. Some people say like, oh, they're just trying to hoard it all for themselves. They're being elitist. They're being gatekeepers. No, like, it's very different buying this stuff with cash that you have after all your ducks are in a row versus trying to buy this on a credit card and trying to overcome paying sales tax as an end consumer who doesn't have their business stuff in order, trying to overcome the higher fees that you'll pay not having an eBay store, trying to sell stuff with a zero feedback eBay account as opposed to a 20-year-old eBay account with 20,000 feedback. Or 50, I don't even remember what I have for feedback. 50,000 feedback. I need to double check now because I don't remember. 20,000 feedback. 23,000. I think I have 50,000 orders and only 23,000 feedback. I knew those numbers were. It says 31,000 feedback received, but then my number is only 23,000. I think because it only counts unique. I think it only counts unique buyers. I think if someone buys 10 items from you, it only makes your number go up 1. I don't think it goes up by 10, but I'm not positive. Anyways, Trevor says, do you think too many people are preparing to invest in cases for surging, or would you say this was similar to Sword and Shield hype during pandemic? So during XY, I've been there since 2014. I've been there since Phantom Forces was the set that I got back into. I got my first allocation. Not allocation because you could just buy what you wanted. My first distributor set was Primal Clash, right after Phantom Forces. So I've been in distribution since Primal Clash. In XY, I was worried and I was saying more people are investing in this than did during Black and White. And in Sun and Moon, I said I'm a little bit worried because more people are investing in this than were during XY era. In Sword and Shield, I was worried because print runs were bigger and more people were investing in Sword and Shield than they were in Sun and Moon. I'm a little worried, and I have been worried in Scarlet Violet. More people are absolutely investing in this stuff. Distributors included, businesses, retailers included are investing in it. It's a little scary. the whole junk box conversation that I had a couple minutes ago. That is the downside. That stuff could happen. In spite of all that, I believe in Pokemon enough that I think they'll navigate it well, and I don't think we'll have that. So it can happen. Any PokeTuber, any person that tells you there's a 0% chance of that happening is lying. They're wrong. It's just factually incorrect. 20 years from now, we will have the hindsight to tell us, okay, it did get dark there for a few years. 2027 to 2030, a lot of businesses went under. Things were really dark. It was dark times. Pokemon almost died. I'm making this up. Like, I have no idea. But, like, that could happen. And a lot of people would get wrecked if it did happen. I would weather that storm. I am confident even if... So my position. I have multi-six figures in Pokemon Ultra Modern Sealed. A week from Monday, I will detail what I have in my one palette and starting my second palette. I have some stuff that's locked away for 6 years. I have some stuff that I would sell whenever, more open to me just selling whenever. But if we get to a period where booster boxes are $60 on eBay, I will stop selling. I will stop selling. If we get to a point where I can't grade a card and make money, if we get to a point where sets come out and like most people would leave. If the only way prices would get there is if most people left already. So given the market would be a bunch smaller, I might be able to still be here and make 50 grand a year. I might be able to make $1,000 a week, so I might be able to justify staying here, even if the market retracts a ton. Say it retracts so much that I can't. I'll go get a different job. I'll go do something else. And I'll sit on, I will just keep my stuff. Maybe I'll buy a little bit more if I'm feeling frisky. But I am ready to weather a 5-year storm of darkness. Most people are not. Most people are not capable of it. Some people will say I'm buying it to hold it 5-10 years. They rip it on a random Friday night. They had too many IPAs, whatever it may be, too many glasses of wine. I'm genuinely ready to just weather a 2 to 5 year, 6 year, 7 year storm. I'm quite confident. I can't say 100%. I'm quite confident though Pokemon will outlive me. I feel quite safe, especially relative to all the other stuff that I'm doing investment wise. I'm not putting my family's financial future in jeopardy with all this stuff, but some people absolutely are. I sold to some people in 2021, people that destroy themselves financially. It sucks, but it's like they're adults making adult decisions. I didn't make them click the buy button. I didn't tell people to buy the stuff either. I'm constantly, like, a lot of people are new here. My channel is seen as bearish sometimes. I have multi-six figures in Pokemon Sealed, and my channel is called bearish at times because I will say it could go down. People don't like that. People don't like that I say there's a chance it could go down. There's a chance we could have a 2 to 5 year period where boxes are selling for $80 a piece on eBay. A loss. Oh, well, a business would never sell at a loss. They do all the time. They would. They will and they would and they do. When they need to make payroll, when they need to keep the lights on, like all those things happen. So here's disclaimer Dan, here's caveat Dan, here is risk, talking through the risk Dan, like I will pop up from time to time. Do you think too many people are preparing to invest in cases for surging, or would you say this was similar to Sword and Shield hype during pandemic? I think more people are investing today than have ever invested in Ultra Modern Sealed Pokemon. I am doing it by the dozens of cases. There are people doing it by the dozens of pallets. Distributors to an extent are investing in it. Distributors are holding stuff back. Distributors are selling stuff at $120 a box, $150 a box, $180 a box, instead of just selling it at wholesale at $95 a box, whatever it is. But in spite of that, I believe in Pokemon. I believe them to navigate it well, and I think I will be rewarded for the investments that I currently hold in Pokemon. L-Dubs wants me to buy. I'm not going to buy any on stream. Title it Scalping PC ETBs. Ponga needs at least 80 just for his streams. That's the thing. I don't think we can buy those and stream those. He'll complain about having to ship an oddball-sized item if people are buying them sealed. He doesn't want to ship those sealed. Do you think it's better to buy CGC 10 or save up to buy PSA 10 Umbreon First Edition English? Not a reseller, but price appreciation still good for the heart. Honestly, it's kind of a cheeky answer, but it is the answer. A lot of CGC 10s on vintage, people are buying PSA 9s, people are cracking them out, and people are grading them in CGC 10s. To be fair, a lot of PSA 10s, if you cracked out PSA 10s and regraded them, a lot of them would regrade PSA 9s. If you crack out a PSA 9 and regrade it as a PSA 10, a lot of them, not some amount of them, not the majority of them, not the majority of them by any means, but like in sheer absolute terms, a lot of them, hundreds of them, thousands of them, tens of thousands of them, of nines, old nines, WotC cards, holos, first editions, whatever. Tons of cards would crack out as a 9, regrade as a 10. So I've always shied towards the side of like, buy a super clean 9. Buy a super clean 9 and resend it. Crack it out, re-roll it again. Buy the cleanest 9 you can ever find, and it'll be cleaner than half the 10s you see. If you buy, like, so many of the 9s I formerly owned in WotC Holos, so many of the 9s that I owned were cleaner than 10s that I had owned also. And I always sold the 10s, and I always kept the clean 9s. Really clean 9s, I would occasionally crack out, and I'd BGS 9.5 them, or I'd CGC 10 them these days. I have a CGC 10 Neo Discovery Umbreon that was formerly a PSA 9. I am doing a little bit of that again. I've done a little bit of that historically, but like, buy the card, not the grade. I will always say buy the card, not the grade. Buy the card and the grade. Buy a super clean 9 and turn it into a 10. Always the best value. Top 5 favorite Scarlet and Violet Pokemon. New only, no regional forms. Quaxley is number 1. I don't like Quaxley's evolutions. I think I like the starter. So I'll go Quaxley, Sprigatito, Fuecoco. And then who's that one? You're gonna test my I gotta pull up a Pokédex. I like dogs. You've got oh, I need to type Pokédex. I like who's that crazy looking guy? I'm so bad with their names, clearly. I didn't play the games, so like I'm not super engaged with the names. Wait, this is, let me just look up a full Pokédex and go to the end of it. Highest number first. We're gonna go backwards. Ancient Future. I'm assuming you're not letting me count those. I'm not a huge fan. Golden Go, the string cheese guy. I pulled one of those. I have one of those in my PC that I pulled in Houston, I think it was. Golden Go is pretty cool. Number 1,000 too. Even number 1,000. Let's put Golden Go up in there. So many of these Pokemon I feel like I'm seeing for the first time. Alaphin, you got the Flipper Pokemon. Love to see the Flipper Pokemon. Wiglet's a classic. He's iconic already. Oops. Belly Bolt. I haven't even seen these Pokemon. I've seen Squawkabilly. Let's see. Oinkalone, Lechonk. Lechonk is a good one. Let's go Quaxley, Lechonk, Fuecoco, Sprigatito, and then let's throw in which one did I say? Let's throw in Golden Go. Those are my top 5 Scarlet and Violet Pokemon. Amarouge is the greatest. Armarouge is the greatest, says L-Dubs. Risen Sparrow says Fuecoco. Yeah, being able to be a GameStop member, I think, is a lot cheaper than being a PSA member. And then it's only $1 more a card, but you save on the membership fee, and then you save on them doing the shipping, all that stuff. Have you ever heard of the YouTube channel Reserved Investments? He's also a collector of antiques and coins and such, and he always talks against this hobby for the most part. Yes, I'm a big fan of Sean and his content. I think he misses the mark on certain things. As I'm sure a lot of people think I missed the mark on certain things. Like I think he's too bearish on some things, but I think he's fairly spot on a lot of things too. Uh, he's seen as like a bear, but he plays in a lot of this stuff too, though. With the new 151 products, is 151 going to take a hit, and if so, how big of a hit? Absolutely. How much? Who knows? Nobody knows. I would just be guessing. I would just be guessing. Am I the main thing, the best answer? Am I panic selling every single item I have? No. I love 151. I believe in it long term. I am business as usual in the short term with 151. I'm not panic selling any of it. I would love an opportunity to get more of it cheaper. Um but yeah, I would say sell some amount and then buy some amount for cheaper if you can. Yeah, nobody knows how big it's gonna be. You do a detailed video on how you pre-grade cards, what you look for. I think I said I was gonna have that be this Monday's video. I'm pushing it back like a month. I want to wait until a few of my returns come in. I sent 2,500 cards ish to PSA in September for the special, the $12.99 special. So once most of those get back, once I have a good sample size to show, I will do my best. My cameras suck. I'm terrible at I don't do editing, all that stuff. I will do my best to do a detailed video on how I pre-grade cards. I will talk about what I send, what I don't send, and why. And I will absolutely do that. It'll probably be in the next 4 to 6 weeks. I will try. But it will definitely happen. It's at the top of my list. I ripped 50 Charmander PC ETBs, lots of 9/0/10s. Yikes. Can we finally admit that the pop report and scarcity matter, not from the Sword and Shield era forward? They always matter. Saying they don't matter is so dumb. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Because the pop of this is 30,000. If it was 300,000, if it becomes 300,000, the price will be lower than it would have been if it were a tenth of that, right? Like, it always matters. The price is what it is today because it's 30,000. If it was only 10,000, the price would be higher. Like, these things matter. Are Japanese cards worth it? Yes or no, depending on who you are and what you're doing. I like Japanese cards, not as much as English, though. So I have some, but not as much. Chat, does anyone think Surging Sparks is going to be as good as it's hyped? Or is it just going to be another Vivid Voltage? If it's another Vivid Voltage, I'm a big fan of that. Because I will sell half of what I have at 170. And then I'll sell another 25% at 200. And then it'll drop to like 120, 100. And then I'll wish I had sold it all. But I'll buy more back. And I'll have my 20 cases on my shelf for nearly free. So I will love that. I will love that. That will be a success if it's another Vivid Voltage. It's Pikachu. Go in. Duh, says Jackson. Look at Vivid Voltage today. See, that's the thing though. Like I hold very, very little Vivid Voltage anymore from my original allocation because I was paying attention. So two things can happen. When a set goes Vivid Voltage, when a set goes to 200 in months, it can continue going up or it can go down. All you know, like act with the information you have at the time that you have it. Make the best choice relative to the information you have at the time. At the time, I knew I had a set in my hands that was less than 6 months old that was selling for 200. So I sold almost all of it. Had it gone to 1,000, I wouldn't have been the dummy that said, oh my God, I regret selling Vivid Voltage. So don't conflate outcome with correctness of decision. Some people sell their Evolving Skies at 400 and then it goes to 700 and they think they made the wrong call. You made the right call for you at the time that you made it. You knew your opportunity cost. Maybe you sold your $400 Evolving Skies to pay off your credit cards. Maybe you made the right call with the information you had at the time. That's all you can do. If you conflate outcome with how correct or incorrect your decision was, you've already lost and you will lose and you will continue to lose in the future. Do not conflate outcome. If you buy a Powerball ticket and you win, that was not the correct decision. Buying a lottery ticket is the incorrect decision from a purely investment perspective, from a purely expected value perspective. Ripping a box of 151 is negative EV. With the crazy things that are going on right now, maybe it's not so much, but ripping sealed product to get a chase card is the wrong choice. If you buy 100 Evolving Skies packs to pull a Moonbreon, and you pull a Moonbreon in your first pack, you made a ton of money. You made the wrong call though. You got lucky. Like that is not sustainable. That does not pan out over the long term. Ripping $15 Evolving Skies packs for Moonbreon, that is negative EV. So don't conflate outcome with correctness of decision. A lot of people lose a lot of money over time because of that. So sell Vivid Voltage at 200, have no regrets. If it goes to 100, not only did you make the correct decision, but you got a good outcome down the line because now you can reacquire it cheaper. But if you sell all your Surging Sparks at 170 or at 200, and then it goes to 300, 400, 500, it never gets reprinted, you made the best decision for you at that time. Don't look in the rear view at stuff like that. Don't worry about it. Like, those are going to happen to some extent. That's why I normally don't sell 100%. I normally sell half or 75%. I sell in like chunks like that. Is it a good idea to sell a PSA 10 card, then just buy the raw card just because you like the card? Absolutely. Like, if you have in your hand a PSA 10 card and a PSA 10 151 Charizard that you can sell for 600, and you can rebuy a raw one maybe for 150, 200. If you don't value that PSA 10 holder $400 and the market does, like, get the same artwork, go buy yourself, like, you can go on a weekend vacation for that. Go put money into a 401k. Go like, do whatever brings you happiness. Put money. Money's a tool. Money's a tool to advance you towards your goals, to bring you happiness. Money does not buy happiness, but it can do things to buy freedom, to lead you towards your happiness, to lead you towards your goals. So, like, money is just a tool. Use it in the most optimal way. Don't grab a hammer and try to pull out screws. Don't try to use the tool in the most optimal way to advance you towards your goals. Well, back to the post office. 151 ETB, 90 bones just sold. See, I'm transparent too. Awesome. Congrats on the sale. Congrats on the gains. With all this 151 and hype and price spikes, is this similar at all to Evolving Skies or other hype set where people said it was too much too quick, but it held up? So there's two examples. It could do two things. So it could do Hidden Fates. It could go up and up and up, and it could get reprinted, and it could come back down. And it could, like, Hidden Fates, depending on when you bought it, depending on when you sold it. I did amazing with Hidden Fates. I don't have a whole lot left. I sold a lot of it early in its plateau. I sold some too early, but like, I did very well with Hidden Fates. If I did a case study, let me write down case study Hidden Fates. I still need to do a case study on Evolutions too. I left so much money on the table from the purely optimal outcome, selling everything at the absolute peak, but you will never do that. You will never sell everything perfectly at the peak. You will never buy everything perfectly at the bottom. All you can do is take your best guess, work with the knowledge you have at the time, and make the best choice for you. But yeah, 151, whatever happens will be obvious in hindsight, but like, it could spend 5 years flat. It could spend 5 years flat. 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years from now, they could just keep hammering it. They could hammer it every 6 months. Boom, boom, huge supply, huge supply, huge supply. I'm talking Japanese, I'm talking English, any of it. They can print a number that will make the Mew UPC go back to 80, go back to 90 when people didn't want it 6 months ago, 8 months ago. I don't think they will, but they could. They could. Or this could be the last hurrah for 151, and the UPC could be 300 next Christmas. 151 ETBs could be 150, 200 next Christmas. Both of those could happen. Likely, somewhere in between will happen, but navigate it the best you can. Keep in mind your opportunity cost, keep in mind your goals, all that stuff. Dan, did you sell all your 151 PC ETBs at 200 plus? I think I still have 2 left. Is it? So I've sold almost all of them. Shiny Treasure Japanese boxes are under 30 right now, worth picking up. Let me tell you actual information. I don't want to say for you, I don't know your situation, but like me, just yesterday, I bought, where are we? I bought 40 of them yesterday. So yeah, I bought 40 of them yesterday, sub 30. And I have approximately, let me tell you how many I have approximately. Very transparent. I try to be very transparent. I have approximately 200 to 250 of them. I have a bunch of them out in Washington with retrospects, and I have a bunch of them here with me. So I have approximately 250, and I bought recently about 40 more. So yeah, don't listen to what I'm saying. Look at what I'm doing. I think that's a better answer. It's been at that price for a long time with so much coming out. I don't think anyone is doing any shiny hunting anytime soon. Yeah, I think Shiny Treasure is a great set. Opportunity cost is a big thing. If you locked up 6 months ago, you could have bought Shiny Treasure for 30 bucks a box. Say you bought 1,000 boxes. You could have bought 1,000 boxes of Shiny Treasure, and you did very poorly. You did very poorly relative to the other things you could have been in. I'm in a lot of things. I'm in a lot of things in Pokemon, let alone like all the other stuff I do. My video Monday will be talking about Surging Sparks. My video a week from Monday. My video on November 4th will be talking about my investment palette. I'll talk about the silver and the gold, the very little bits of that I own, the large amounts of S&P 500 that I own, the reasonable amounts of crypto that I own. Money is fungible. Money doesn't care where you put it. If your sole goal is to make a bunch of money, know your opportunity costs. And like that is supreme importance for investors. I've been going for 3 hours and 16 minutes. This has been a very fun stream. Pokemon Steven says, I kiss my cats on the lips sometimes, Dan. Oh man, I am very much I will kiss animals. I don't know if I can say that I've never kissed them on the lips. I've probably kissed them on the lips. I think my wife does not kiss the animals though. I think she thinks it's a little weird how I kiss them. But like, man, I cuddle them up, I kiss them, not on the lips, just on the head, on the ears. But I definitely I'm not sure if cats have lips. Nice to see you though, Pokemon Steven. Another one who I don't know if Steven brought the boom or if the boom happened and then brought him back. But Steven is one who had taken a break from YouTube a little bit, and he is back posting a little bit. So you love to see that. I'm going to call it here, though. We're talking about Radar says you're still live. I played a whole basketball game. We got Pokemon Steven in here talking about kissing his cats on the lips sometimes. I think we're going to call it with that. I very much appreciate everyone hanging out. I appreciate everyone stopping in, keeping the chat going. Over 100 concurrent viewers as I end. Yeah, I am very thankful for everything I have in this hobby, in this business, in this space. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for the current, the now. These numbers tonight were double what I've been doing the past 6 months, 8 months. So yeah, appreciate everyone stopping in. If you are here still and you haven't yet, if you enjoy the transparency, if you enjoy the deep dives, the occasional spreadsheets, the occasional tax talk, all that stuff, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I almost never ask for that because it's normally just the same people in here. But since there's a bigger viewership, please click that like so it'll spread out to more people. Please click that subscribe if you enjoyed what you heard here. Every week, so every 2 weeks, I am live on this channel for a couple hours. Q&A, a 7-figure Pokemon seller. Ask me anything. I will answer everything I can to the full extent that I can. And then every other week, I have another channel. I have a podcast with another 7-figure annual Pokemon seller. And his name is Nick, Old School Pokemon. I'm going to link our YouTube in case you want to follow. So every week, I am live on YouTube. Every other week on PokeFlips. Every other week here. So if you want to talk to me, subscribe there, subscribe here. I would appreciate that very much. I would love to have you. I would love to answer your questions about anything. But yeah, that is going to be it.